It's insidious.
Southern men, the thunders mutter, northern flags and south winds flutter. To arms, to arms, to arms, to arms, in Dixie. Send them back your fierce defiance, stamp upon the cursed alliance. To arms, to arms, to arms, in Dixie. Advance the flag of Dixie. Hurrah, hurrah, for Dixie's land we take our stand and live or die for Dixie. To arms, to arms, and conquer peace for Dixie. To arms, and conquer peace for Dixie. Fear no danger, shun no labor, lift up rifle, pike, and saber. To arms, to arms, to arms, in Dixie. Shoulder pressing close to shoulder, let the odds make each heart bolder. To arms, to arms, to arms, in Dixie. Advance the flag of Dixie. Hurrah, hurrah, for Dixie's land we take our stand and live or die for Dixie. To arms, and conquer peace for Dixie. To arms, and conquer peace for Dixie. Swear upon your country's altar never to submit or falter. To arms, to arms, to arms, in Dixie. Till the spoilers are defeated, till the Lord's work is completed. To arms, to arms, to arms, in Dixie. Advance the flag of Dixie. Hurrah, hurrah, for Dixie's land we take our stand and live or die for Dixie. To arms, and conquer peace for Dixie. To arms, and conquer peace for Dixie.
It's like they know all of my kryptonites. It's insidious.
Southern men, the thunders mutter, northern flags and south winds flutter. To arms, to arms, to arms, to arms, in Dixie. Send them back your fierce defiance, stamp upon the cursed alliance. To arms, to arms, to arms, in Dixie. Advance the flag of Dixie. Hurrah, hurrah, for Dixie's land we take our stand and live or die for Dixie. To arms, to arms, and conquer peace for Dixie. To arms, and conquer peace for Dixie. Fear no danger, shun no labor.
If I turn the microphone on, I had something else selected. Okay. I guess, okay, we'll start over again. Well, hello, Glue Troopers, and welcome to another scintillating episode of Max's Models. We have our good friend Steve of Steve's Model Mania on board. Steve, you say hi and give me a sound check.
Good evening, Troopers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And hopefully you can hear me now. It will run about a 30-second loop, so it'll be a while before I see your comments. I was visiting with family, just raced over to get this done. And it would be fair to say that we've had a few adult beverages and all that implies. And by the way, I didn't drive. But the Mustang is secure in the garage. Big shout out to Tora and Sandy and my sister and Bob for giving me a ride home and everything else. So, good, they can hear us now. Outstanding. So, tonight's video, in light of the recent video I did, my first Max's movies on Murphy's War, I decided to cover some Hollywood miniatures and model building for the movies and a few other things. And the day was busy, so I did not get a chance to get all the pictures I wanted ahead of time, so we might be doing some jumping on board as we speak. Steve, I don't know if you sent me those pictures. I haven't had a chance to download them. I literally...
To your email.
Okay. I literally raced in the house and trying to get everything done. And let me check the email real quick. I was... let's see here, real fast. There it is. All right. Okay, this is your build?
No, I bought it that way.
Oh, you bought it that way. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, file, save as. Put it in tonight's video here. This is Livestream 150. Can you believe we've done 152 live streams? Okay. It should be in there. What else is in the inbox real quick before we jump? Okay, nothing else that should matter to us. So I can sign out an email, close that. So, guys, for those who saw it, I did a Max's movies on Murphy's War, and it's not really so much anything more than just a rant, just kind of stream of consciousness kind of stuff. And you always start off these things with a couple of pictures, figure that's all I'll need because I'm just going to talk about it. But as you get into it, you wind up getting more and more and more. Now, most movies where they build miniatures, build models, for the movie. Sometimes they use kit models, such as in Independence Day and others, but sometimes they actually, if it's something specific, they get into building miniatures, and usually they build miniatures for the movie. But the miniatures, when we say miniatures, these things can still be 20 or 30 feet long. We've talked about this before. Well, I wanted to do some cars, some planes, and some ships, but I only got through the ships before I got other life things happened. But we'll start off with that. We'll go where it takes us. Now, I was shocked to learn how many movies make models of cars for scenes that you think it would be cheaper and easier just to dump a real car in the river. But apparently that ain't the case. But I went back and decided, let's go back to the earlier movies. I found a great website on maritime models in the movies. And what I was kind of surprised to learn was I knew that models went back to the 20s and 30s. In fact, they had to use models because that's all they had. But I was really shocked at the detail of some of the stuff I found, and we'll be talking about that in a minute. Steve, before we get started, Ken will be with us hopefully later. He's just getting off the boat, so when he gets home, hopefully he'll call in. Steve, before I get rolling on this, can you think of any particular movies that you've seen where car models were used and you could tell that they were car models?
Question. Yeah, the old serials.
Okay. Yeah, they definitely.
Remember the old. They were all models because they just looked like models, and when they went off the cliff, exploded. Like a.
I know that in the 60s and 70s, I know that
even movies like Christine, they used cars that they, a lot of, but they were all cars.
Well, one of the things that surprised me is that a lot of movies, the one that comes to mind is Dante's Peak, but a lot of the movies used models that were handmade, were usually about 1/10 or 1/8 scale, of actual existing vehicles, which were, wait a minute, wouldn't it be easier just to get an old clunker Jeep Grand Cherokee, we put a siren on it and toss it in the river? But apparently they couldn't get control over the situation, and a lot of the idea behind using models was the producer, the director could control the event more. And I meant to go get some pictures, but when I watched A Sense of Scale, some of the guys that talked, they'd have these big 1/10 scale, 1/8 scale model cars behind them. And I'm like, wait a minute, I remember that from this movie or that movie. And they'd fish them out of the water when they were done and drain them.
The Time Machine.
Yeah.
The Time Machine, the George Pell one with Rod, whatever his name
Taylor.
was there. When he goes ahead in the future and they drop the bomb on London and the lava comes down, those were all models.
Yeah. We're going to kind of be getting into that. We think of models, we tend to think ships, planes, cars, spaceships. They build models of terrain, of volcanoes, of buildings. We're actually going to be touching on that a fair bit here in a little bit. But sometimes they use kit models, like I say, Independence Day. They bought up every 1/32 scale F-15 and F-18 they get their hands on for the attack on the air base and everything. They just need them sitting out there. Sorry, guys. Pardon. I'm still trying to clear my throat. My sister-in-law pumped me full of Cosmos.
Ocular Malice makes a good point. He said the problem with model cars in movies is that the scale usually never works out to the real scale of what they're putting in it. Water.
That is true, and we're actually going to be touching on that a little bit later. Yes. Now, there was a movie that I had never seen before, I hadn't even heard of before I started doing research for tonight's video, called Hearts of Bondage. And Hearts of Bondage, the part I saw, deals with the CSS Virginia, which everyone calls the Merrimack because that was its Union name, attacking the ships, the blockade ships at the Battle of Hampton Roads. And it's all model work, but it holds up surprisingly well. And what I came to realize was that the ships in the movie, since they were fairly slow moving, they don't really have any issues with wake because those old ships move so slow. For a movie that was actually, hold on, I wrote it down here. Let's see, Hearts of Bondage. I've got this kind of quasi chronological order. Hearts of Bondage, 1936. Hearts of Bondage, 1936. So you guys may have seen some of this on the intro, but the Hearts of Bondage models show the attacks on the CSS, or excuse me, the USS Cumberland and the Congress. For those who don't know, Battle Hampton Roads, the ironclad CSS Virginia, which had been the USS Merrimack. It was sunk. The Confederates refloated it, chopped the top off. It was a steam sail ship. They made it steam only. They used the Hulk to build the CSS Virginia, which everybody to this day still calls the Merrimack, which was its Union name. But the thing is that the ship did attack the blockade runners, and with considerable success. Yeah, I believe it sank 3 of them. The next day, it came out to finish off the job when the USS Monitor showed up, and the two of them did the famous battle at Hampton Roads. Well, this movie, Hearts of Bondage, uses some. And again, I got to remember, this is 1936 that this movie is made. The special effects hold up pretty well, and I was definitely impressed by it. The model work is excellent. The story, reasonably faithful, typical Hollywood stuff. Very annoyingly sympathetic to the Confederacy, but still, it does show what actually happened there. And when I looked at this, I was thinking, okay, it's 1936 or 1926 for that matter. You're a model maker. You want to create something. You have basically 2 ways to do it. You build models or you use the full-size thing. There's not a lot of motor. There is no CGI. The models have got to look convincing. And even back then, the audience was sophisticated enough that it couldn't look like a bathtub toy. Ironically, I think special effects got worse over time, but we're gonna jump into that. And so I that is actually not the first movie though. Steve, do you remember a movie about a psycho called The Most Dangerous Game?
Yes.
You want to give a quick rundown on it while I talk about it, or while I show some slides?
I don't remember it that well, but I do remember seeing it. But
okay, the short story is there is a luxury yacht that is deliberately grounded by a psycho who has an island, and the people who and the model work in it is the pleasure yacht crashing against the rocks and exploding. When the people swim to the island, it's some nut job that wants to hunt them down. He likes to hunt people as for sport. And
it's the British movie.
What?
Well,
it's an RKO film. There have been several iterations of it made. It's been remade several times. They even had an episode of Gilligan's Island that played on this. But not to get into the movie that much, so much as just the model work. This was made in 1932, and it's the model work in it. I mean, it doesn't really hold up today, but for a 1932 audience, this is actually some pretty sophisticated stuff. These were big models that were shot out in a tank, and they really did a serious job of trying to make it look plausible. The problem we run into that you mentioned is water doesn't scale. You know what? I think I'm going to switch chairs because this thing is creaking too much. Good Lord. I know I'm big, but give me a break. Okay. comes with a smaller chair, won't squeak as much. I'm gonna have to find a quiet chair. And what hurts is when I'm doing my recordings and the chair makes a loud squeaking noise. But that is not bad special effects for 1932. Would you agree?
No. Yeah, not at all. I think for 32, it looks very good. There's movies that were made in the 60s that have special effects that look that good.
You're reading my mind. I was having that very thought. Now,
I mean, in harm's way, they look so fake, it's not even funny.
Yeah, the whole bathtub toy thing. Well, since you mentioned that there's one other movie that was made in 1932 that I had never heard of, called The Devil in the Deep. And I have not seen it, but apparently the idea is that there is a psycho sub-skipper played by Charles Naughton. You know, Charles Naughton always got stuck playing characters like Quasimodo and, and all these psycho...
Dr. Moreau.
Yeah. I mean, I was like, he was a really good actor, but come on, guys, you could do better with him than that. But anyway, so in The Devil in the Deep, you have a psycho sub-skipper. And this was made in 32, by the way. And these are really good special effects for 1932. I don't know if they actually shot it in a water tank or how they did it exactly. But some of the scenes, like where the submarine's coming into port, for a movie made in that period, they're actually pretty convincing. This had a lot of future big-name stars. But apparently the captain, for those who haven't seen the movie, not really spoilers here, but the captain is a paranoid. I think he would be, I don't know if he'd be a paranoid schizophrenic today or what. But he's convinced that every first officer he has is having an affair with his wife, even though they've never even met her. But just getting to the model work, they have some model work of it. Now, I stop and think about this. This is nothing but a scene of the sub coming into port. But for that, they've got to build an entire port model. They've got to build the ships. They've got to build a submarine. I mean, that is a lot of model work for a relatively minor, it's an important scene, but not a long scene. And it impresses me how much work went into this. It's almost like the Model Builders Union wanted to make a movie and create work for themselves. But
Do you know the models?
What? What?
You know who made the models, did the special effects?
No. I haven't had a chance to research it. I assume it was the in-house model department because most studios had a model department, which was union. Yeah. Oh, since you brought that up, hold on. Time out. I have to tell you something. I mean to tell you this all day and hadn't gotten around to it. I heard back from Dan Monroe over at Music, Movies, and Monsters. I sent him some stuff about a video I saw on Trek World, and he loved it. He contacted me today. He's just been extremely busy. He does intend to do a live stream with us at some point. All right? But he's got a life. He's got the channel, which he puts out a lot of content. He's exceptionally busy. So, but he hasn't forgotten about us, and he really appreciated what I sent him. I'm not going to talk about it because he's probably going to do a video on some stuff I sent him, which you guys are going to love. So that was some good news. I'm really excited. Also, Greg Gordon over at Greg's Aircraft and Automobiles also has agreed at some point to try and come on with us. But Dan and Greg and myself all have, day jobs and lives and family issues and everything else. So it'll happen when it happens, but it's just exciting to know that all these great YouTube creators are willing to come on our humble little backwater channel, and it means a lot to me. And I think it means a lot to you guys, too. It's really great. YouTube has really democratized.
That sounds great.
Yeah, oh, it's awesome. And, YouTube has really democratized this kind of thing. I mean, you can just email a guy and say, hey, you want to come on my YouTube? Sure. I mean, it's not like the old days of the studios where you had to go through 15 assistants to get to someone.
Now, Lance Revell came out with a great idea for a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Gilligan's Island and the Predators.
Okay, since he brought that up, I do have to throw one thing out there. And it's kind of a, what do they call it, prisoner's dilemma kind of thing. If you're on Gilligan's Island and you want to get off, what's the first thing you do?
What?
Kill Gilligan. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Apparently, somebody said, look at the prisoner's dilemma. You want to go off Gilligan's Island, the first thing you do is kill Gilligan because he spoiled most of their attempts. But that's a little harsh. But anyway, no, that would actually be not a bad premise. You could work with that. Well, think about it, Steve. How many movies have we seen that were really cheesy, like my favorite of favorites, The Green Slime, that are actually not bad concepts? They're just, given the time they were made, the budgets they had, pretty poorly executed. Although, to their credit, the actors in The Green Slime, they took the material seriously, but the special effects let them down. But I guarantee you could take, Planet Vampire, Planet of the Vampires, The Green Slime. I mean, let's face it, the alien more or less is the Green Slime. I mean, all these, trapped on a space station, or trapped in a sub, I'll bet you, given the success that Snakes on a Plane had, if you made Vampires on a Submarine or something like that, which, by the way, was an episode of Angel, you could do something with that. There's a lot to be said for the trapped in the tube with the big bad plot line. And of course, you know me, if they say, hey, Max, we're going to make this movie, would you like to be involved? I just want to make the models. And maybe have a cameo as the guy on the screen, going, wow, it sucks to be you. Wow, that was cold. I'll take Marianne. Yeah, Chris, you, me, and everybody else. There was a Zima commercial years ago. By the way, did I mention I had a snoot full before I came over here? My sister-in-laws were kind of, So this is going to be a fun live stream, guys. In vino veritas. Amen. Anyway, and no, I did not drive. So anyway, they had an old Zima, for those of us who remember Zima, and I imagine most people watching this channel probably do. They had a Zima commercial where these guys and girls are shooting pool, and one of the girls just looks at the guys and goes, Samantha, or Ginger or Marianne? And all the guys stop and look, Marianne. And then they go, Jeannie or Samantha? And they all kind of look, and I think it was Jeannie, which would be my answer. But anyway, I just, you're in touch with the cultural zeitgeist when that's all you have to say. What? Hey, I liked them all, Paul. I mean, I'm not saying any, what's the old saying? I wouldn't say no to any of them for eating soda crackers in bed. And, but Christ, I was 18 years old. What do you expect? But perhaps we're getting off topic here. No, let me rephrase that. We are definitely getting off topic here. Not that that's a bad thing. That's what we do here. This, we could rename this, instead of Max's Model, it'd just be the Tangent YouTube channel. But tangents are fun. So, anywho.
Communication terminated.
Uh-oh. We just lost Steve. Let me call him back, see what happened. Okay, what happened here? Call. And now, Steve, you've abandoned me. No, say it ain't so. It just said For those who don't know, I use my Star Trek communicator Wi-Fi here because it... Oh, come on. Okay, Steve, if you're getting this, you're going to have to call me. It's going to voicemail. Well, I'm on my own right now. Holy schmoly. Without tangents, you would never show. Yeah, Paul, that pretty much nails it. Or Daisy too. Yeah, I like Daisy, okay, but Marianne, do you know Marianne was Miss Nevada in 1961, if memory serves me right? Steve, if you're still getting this, you got to call me. It shows that we were terminated. When I call, it just goes to voicemail. Of course, I don't know, maybe Freddy Krueger's paying you a visit? Hello? Steve? You didn't upset the mob, did you? Try one more time here. Well, remember, lowest production values on the internet, proudly.
Your call has been forwarded
no.
to an automatic.
All right, Steve's going to have to call us back. I hate it when cell phones do that kind of crap. Oh, well. That's what you get. That's what you get for depending on the cell phone service. So, anywho, we'll just roll on to the next one. So, in Devil in the Deep, the model works really actually very good for movie in the 30s. But Psycho Captain, who's convinced that this first officer is sleeping with his wife because he's, basically psycho, he deliberately steams his submarine, or sails his submarine, in the path of a steamer, the Albatross. And they have a collision. It's all model work. And, of course, obviously run into the issues with the water not scaling properly, but still looks good. Hits the sub, they sink, and apparently they had some submariners help them with the movie because they did what was considered a very technically correct recovery, getting some of the people out in a Momsen with Momsen lungs, and they recover them. Great. But what I was interested in was the model work. It's really good from what I mean, for 1932, you realize movies have been around a few decades. But then you have another movie called Raiders of the Seven Seas, which used a lot of models. Now, they kind of look like models. The waves don't really scale out properly. But the models themselves are excellent. And I'm thinking, this is a really good effort on the part of the model makers. And guys, I'm having to... yes, Billy. Well, Steve, call me back if you can. Was it not going through? I got my phone hung up so that hopefully you can get through. You guys, I hope I can get all three done by the deadline, Barry. Let's see what we got here. Okay, well, looks good. Oh, the Knox. I did a white ensign models of the Knox for an officer that used to serve on it. So anyway, I'm just very impressed with the quality of the models, and I was going to get more pictures, but I figured, I don't really need more. You guys get the idea. Now, a while back, I rewatched a Yul Brynner film called Morituri, and it's about a German freighter, merchantman, during the Second World War. The captain was played by Yul Brynner, who is not a Nazi. He's an old Imperial German, but he's got a Nazi first officer, and what's his name from... I got him only forget Marlon Brando plays a guy who's basically blackmailed by British intelligence, Trevor Howard, into sneaking on board, posing as an SS officer to stop this shipment of rubber. I did not realize they used so many models, but I should have because of all the stuff that went boom in the movie. But you look at the model of the ship, and you think, this would look good on display in any maritime museum. And I'm just in awe of the model builders of these things. And I realize it's their job. They have all the tools, all the skills, and they can crank these things out in a week or a month or whatever. But all the detail that's on board and everything, it's just, and sometimes they have to be engineered to go boom, so they have to have deliberate weak spots built into them. And I don't know. I wish these things could have been saved. I'm sure most of them were just thrown away after the movie was made. And here's again an opportunity for model makers to go, hey, look, we can crank out a model of this ship and sell it as a tie-in to the movie. I think there's just, and I know there have been kit models of some of these merchant vessels, and they're not really top sellers, but still, it's just so easy to convert some kit. Well, okay, I better not say that. I'd say it's so easy. It wouldn't be that big a deal to convert some of the existing kits to match these specifications. And let's be honest, kit model builders aren't always known for worrying about all the little details, especially when we're dealing with, do I have to say it? Aurora. But Morituri was, which by the way is from the phrase, oh, there he is, all right. Hey!
You dropped me.
Yeah, I've been talking about it for a while, but I know there's a lag. But you're back.
Well, I'm back.
Okay. So this is the model ship from Morituri, which is apparently from the old phrase "Morituri tu salute," which is, we hear about the "I salute you," which is the old gladiator phrase. That's where they think they got the phrase from. And but this is the movie with Yul Brynner as a German ship's captain, and Marlon Brando's playing the I think actually Austrian, who's basically blackmailed by Trevor Howard to sneaking on board as a saboteur to plant a bomb. Ship's full of rubber, and it's an interesting movie. It's very different than most World War II movies. Yul Brynner is a proud German, but not a Nazi. So his son is a U-boat commander. He's thrilled when he finds out his son gets credit for sinking a bunch of tonnage, but then he looks at the ships and realizes he sunk a hospital ship, and he's disgusted. And because he's a man of moral conviction. But then they wind up getting blown. The bomb goes off, the ship's sinking, everybody jumps off, and then the ship doesn't sink because apparently the rubber solidifies when it gets hit by seawater and plugs the holes. And it's just Marlon Brando and Yul Brynner sitting on a derelict ship going, well, what do we do now? It's a different kind of movie, a little bit along the vein of Murphy's War, but about 6 years earlier. And but I love this ship model. I mean, that would look good in a museum somewhere. And of course, the movie tie-in could only enhance its popularity. And I'll bet you when they were done with the movie, they took that thing out and burned it, which they tend to do with these things. Is that not a beautiful model?
Yeah, it is.
So anyway, we talked about Murphy's War already. I did the video on it. This is a shot of the model getting bombed, and you can tell it's a model because the water doesn't scale. But I think this was done in England. They said the movie was shot in Malta for the escape scene, England for the studio stuff, and then on the Orinoco River for all the stuff that takes place outside on the Orinoco. So they did shoot it on location in Venezuela. But even though I think they did, the best they could with what they had, and at the time it worked okay. It's a short scene. You don't really get a chance to notice the water's all scale. But I could not find a single picture of the model that they used. And, they didn't photograph everything like they do today, even behind the scenes. But I thought it was, worth pointing out since we talked to it. Do you recall a movie that was made in 1961 called Mysterious Island?
Yes.
Well, I found a YouTube page that is dedicated to the model ships and movies. And Mysterious Island was one of the films they covered. And of course, it only makes sense that the balloon and everything are all models. But one of the things I noticed was that in this particular movie, when it comes time for them to sink the regular sailing ship, the balloon looked good. But the sailing ship is really just a beautiful model. And when it comes time for them to sink it, that even though water normally doesn't scale, because it's simply going down and the model was so big, it scaled out very nicely. The waves weren't really much a problem. It doesn't take you out of the movie. And of course, these models that they sink, they usually sink them right off the beach, and then they can recover and pump them out and do it numerous times. We're actually going to be showing some pictures of that here later on. But I look at that and I'm thinking, that's just a beautiful model. And I realize we're not seeing it up close, but it's got all the pulleys and everything and all the rigging. And I'm like, I just think about the craftsman and the work that went into that for maybe a minute of screen time, and it still captivates me.
Well, I mean, look at the amount of work that we all put into our models and then put them on the shelf.
Yeah. Now imagine working on this for a month just to see it sunk. Ow. Yeah. It really, the fact they shot it natural light outside really sells it. And I realize it's a 1961 movie, but that is as much as you could hope for. Heck, that actually holds up today, I think.
Yeah, it does. As a matter of fact, it plays on a lot of the streaming services.
Oh, really? Have to go watch it.
It's still a good movie,
But let's be honest. Model work, special effects can screw up a good movie, a good plot, and good acting if it takes you out of the movie. Now, I haven't seen Mysterious Island forever. I think, what do they find Nemo's hiding place or something like that? I forget.
There's a cove in the island under the volcano, and he's there with his submarine.
Okay. Well, in this photo, you can see some of the special effects guys standing in the background. And by the way, Steve, you'll see in about 30 seconds. We're running a really long loop tonight. But it shows some of the special effects guys standing in the background. But what it is, as far back as they are, it gives you some idea how big this bloody model is. It's got to be 8-10 footer at least. And there's an unwritten code that the bigger the model, the better it looks on camera. And this one, of course, is obviously updated from the original Disney one. We're going to be getting to the Disney Classic in a bit. God, oh, are we ever? You guys may remember how I said the three movies that terrified me as a kid were the original Godzilla, the 1954 War of the Worlds, and the intro to the original TV show, The Invaders. David Benson, a man too long without sleep. Those just, and I mean literally haunted my dreams, or should I say nightmares. But I had forgotten about 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, but we'll get to that particular bit of childhood trauma in a bit. Yes, childhood trauma from Disney. Thank you. But Mysterious Island, although I did not find it nearly as intimidating, it's been a while since I've seen it, but it was still, for the time, if you, as a kid, you went to the theater and saw this, these special effects did not take you out of the movie. You were still very much invested in what was going on screen. The balloon, I didn't even think about as a kid because your mind doesn't work that way. It didn't even dawn on me that was a miniature because they had mixed it in with real people that I guess they composited in. You got to give these guys credit for the early 60s. For 61, these were some straight up honest special effects. To me personally, the hallmark of a special effect is it doesn't take you out of the movie. Which, as we have already pointed out in certain other movies, you see the models and you go, that looks like a bathtub toy. Not buying it, sorry. I know that the Duke and Burgess Meredith are just standing on a soundstage. You're not selling it to me. And which is sad because the acting was fine. I hate to see good acting let down by bad special effects, and I hate to see good special effects wasted on bad acting. That's why I think.
That's where space movies have the advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Because it can look like anything flying through the universe, and it doesn't have to relate to anything in its surrounding.
Yes, I agree. When you make a model of something that exists in our world, you have a much higher bar to sell it. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
it has to fit.
Well,
it has to look like it belongs in that environment.
And one of the things I think is one of the biggest problems that people have in modern, in this, particularly you were talking about, goes back to movies made before the Second World War, but even after. I think one of the hardest things to sell is stuff we see in our everyday life, which is why I personally believe automobiles and airplanes are the hardest thing to sell in models, because we see these things every day. We know what they look like, and if you try to use a model car to do something a real car should do, you've got a very, very uphill battle. If you try to use a model airplane, it probably follows right behind it as being, it's one thing if it's in the sky. But if you have the old chroma key with the black trim or edge around it and everything, it's like in that, what was that horrible movie? Was it Airport 79, The Concorde? Oh my God. That movie was, I saw it in the theater and I thought, this is not even television quality. And the people who did the special effects took it so seriously. Those models were actually, I thought they'd use like kit models because it looked so bad. They'd actually made these big 5-6 foot model Phantoms to use. The problem wasn't the models. The problem was the chroma key and everything else they used. The models, when I saw a photograph of the model, the model actually looks, well, it looks like an RC, but looks pretty good. Then you look at the models they used in Maverick Top Gun of the Su-57. I mean, God, it looked lifelike. And the F-14, but that was all RCs, and of course they cleaned up the footage and everything. But then again, they have abilities now they didn't have before. And when you use a model today, it just provides a basic footprint. You can do so much in post to clean it up that you couldn't do before. And although Maverick Top Gun is a popcorn film all the way, and I don't mean to malign it. I enjoyed it, watched it several times. I really enjoyed it. But even I know that, this is, I hate to say it like this, but kind of nonsense. That plane, that F-14 would have lasted about 30 seconds against those Su-57s. But that being said, it was still a fun movie, great special effects. Had the special effects been anything less than perfect, it would have taken out a film instantly and ruined it. So, when you look at movies like Mysterious Island, you don't really think about it when you're watching because, it's 61. I probably saw the film in, I don't know, it's 69 or 70. And I didn't really give much thought, but I look at it now, I'm thinking, these pictures really look good. I mean, it's not bad. It wouldn't really fool a modern audience. You'd have to do better, but these are top shelf for the time that this movie was made. And what shocks the crap out of me is as soon as they wrap on these films, all this incredible stuff probably goes right in the dumpster. Oh my God, I shouldn't say that with a grin. That breaks my heart. But there is one movie in my heart that will always stand out about all others where model work is concerned. And some of you probably already know where I'm going to go with this. I saw it in the theater when it first came out. It is still a great movie. Even if you watch it today, 90% of it holds up well. And it is, well, it created an entirely new genre called the docudrama. And that, of course, is Tora, Tora, Tora. Now, without getting too verbose, because most of us already know a great deal about this, one of the things about Tora, Tora that sells it, I mean, yeah, you know their models, but it's so well done for 1970 that it doesn't lose anything. They made the models large enough that the fire and water, although they don't scale, they scale well enough. I mean, these ships are 30, 40 feet long. They're bigger than most people's personal watercraft. They paid great attention to detail. I'm not sure, but I read one time that they actually put air bubble generators underneath the model of some of the bigger ships so they would create sort of a frothy water around them to give it a more convincing look. Some of these aircraft carriers are 40, 50 feet long. I mean, they're huge. And the other thing about these, one of them was supposed to be in a military museum down in St. Pete. I kept meaning to get down there, but I don't know if I don't even know if that museum still exists. But they not only did the ships, they had to do the entire harbor. They had to do all the buildings that were around it and everything else. And Fortunately, they're careful not to allow any of the footage to drag on long enough. You notice the difference. I think the footage with the admirals launches and the battleships is excellent because you really think there's a battleship sitting back there behind them. But you see them frothing up the water in the water tank when the aircraft carriers are supposed to be bashing around through the storm and everything. And they did of course, filming it at night helps a lot. Hides a lot of the little stuff. But they froth up the water. You don't have any trouble accepting that this is the high seas and these are carriers getting bounced around. The midget submarine scene was well done, which, by the way, the USS Ward did sink that boat. But some of these scenes of the battleships in the background, I forget if they used Cyrettes or grafted it in, but it sells. The torpedo wakes and everything, which ironically the Japanese torpedoes actually did not leave wakes like that, but they had to show what was going on. The explosions are believable. The footage of the Arizona going up is heartbreaking. And I don't know. It's just one of those movies that just seemed to do everything right. Having just built a model of the Arizona, I was particularly picky, and I was like, they did about as good as you could do it. A lot of these scenes are only on the screen for a few seconds, and you think about the amount of work that went in for a few seconds of footage. You think of the model builders who worked on these probably for weeks or months just to watch them go boom. Oh, that's got to be heart-wrenching as a model builder. Ah. So, I'll quit rambling and let you get a word in. Steve?
Yes.
Oh, I'll stop rambling and let you get a word in.
There's two things. I'm hearing two things. I'm hearing you, and I'm hearing something else in the background. So,
Really?
I'm not sure which one is which. Like, you're not talking now, but you're talking now.
Okay. Oh, hold on. Let me kill the fan. Maybe that's it.
No, it's you talking. It's what you just said on the. Well, no.
Okay.
Anyway.
I got all my volumes turned down here. Let me. Oh. Okay. Everybody still hear me? Okay. I just turned down the volume of the computer, but it should have been. I couldn't hear. Okay. Any better?
No.
That's odd. I literally have nothing else making sound in here but me. Everything is zeroed out on volume, and what are you hearing?
Hold on. I'm getting both of them. But anyway. Yeah. You get the move.
You're breaking up.
One here, in some spaceships they make and the way that they show them,
Hello?
most just can't.
Steve, you're breaking up badly.
Going on, up.
Okay, why don't you hang up and call me back and see maybe we can get a better connection. Okay.
Communication terminated.
I'm assuming you guys all heard that, but he was breaking up very badly. The dangers of transmitting from the basement. Yeah, he was cutting out in and out here too. So hopefully, let's see. Flight attendant crew tracking, stand by to copy a pairing. Steve? Nope, still breaking up.
No. Thank you.
Okay, this ain't good. You're in the basement, aren't you?
Oh, I'm outside the house.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
We got like a 2-bar connection at best. I mean...
Let me get in the car and drive around the block.
Okay.
That might work out. I don't know what's going on. I've been having a lot of problems with the phone over here lately.
And that's a good reason to move.
Not enough cell towers.
Okay. That's what who's Steve Manoia. He's me, Steve of Steve's Model Mania. He is basically my co-host on these things. And unfortunately, he's having some real cell tower issues. Jump the shark. Well, Dale, that's the only aircraft carrier they had. And since you brought that up, let me bring out an interesting point. In the movie Tora, which was a high-budget film by Elmo Williams, they had gotten permission, and I can't believe they got this because you could never get this today. They had actually gotten permission to operate off of Navy carriers. So they really launched.
Can you hear me?
Hello.
Can you hear me any better now?
A little bit. Andy Chandler says the problem with our communications is either sunspots or Godzilla is close.
Or it's the NSA. But
which you weren't getting through on Max's models without a mention of Godzilla.
That's right. How could you not mention Godzilla on Max's models?
But to the comment, it was Andy's comment, or no, who was it? Made the comment about the American carrier. Yes, the Japanese carriers were really American carriers because that's what they had. No one had a Japanese carrier laying around to use. They had the partial angle decks on them. And yes, if you are someone who knows ships and you watch a movie like Tora, you immediately spot that the carriers are not Japanese carriers. That being said, they did what they could with what they had. And they did put Japanese markings on the deck, but you're right, they were American carriers. Now the scene where they're taking off at dawn, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, was actually filmed at sunset, for a lot of logistical reasons. That being said, those are real airplanes, and yes, they got permission from the Navy to operate highly modified civilian aircraft off of a Navy ship because the Navy was behind it because of what they were trying to bring forth. And I really don't think you could do that again today. Excuse me. In the movie whose name we do not speak, they did the same thing, and they painted all the aircraft the wrong color. If you notice in the movie Tora, the Zeros are painted that Japanese gray-green, as are the dive bombers. Only the torpedo planes are painted dark green so that they kind of blend out against the ocean. Not long, at some point, and I think it was around 43, the Japanese decided to start painting all their airplanes dark green. In the movie whose name we do not speak, with Ben Affleck and other people, they painted the Zeros green because the director thought they showed better on camera. And I thought to myself, sure, let's erase a major historical issue, technicality, because it looks pretty on camera. And in the scene where the Zero, God, where to begin with this? They went to the trouble to ship real Japanese, or copies of real Japanese Zeros. Not AT-6s dressed up as Zeros, but full reproductions that actually fly at speed. And they took them to Hawaii because they wanted to film on location. And great, super kudos for wanting to film on location where it really happened. But let's paint the airplane the wrong color because it looks better on camera. Oh, and by the way, we're going to strap a camera on the fuselage of one of the airplanes so they can get a behind the cockpit view. That's fine. But when it does its flybys, we're going to leave the camera in plain view where everyone can see it. We're not even going to erase it with digital effects. Oh, God, I hate that movie. The movie whose name we do not say, Pearl Harbor. That movie is just all kinds of wrong. Whereas this, whereas Tora went out of its way to get everything as right as they could with the facilities and technology that existed at the time. only way they could have made that movie more accurate, and if I ever have an unlimited budget to make a Tora style movie, which by the way today could all be corrected with CGI, yes, I would get myself an 800-foot container ship and mock it up as a Japanese carrier. When they did Midway, of course it was all CGI. Oh, we're really going down my dark place. They went through all this trouble to make a 1-to-1 scale TBD Devastator, which I think they donated to the Naval Air Museum in Pensacola. And good on them for that, because the only 3 known Devastators still exist are all at the bottom of the ocean. But they go through all this trouble to make these accurate CGI models, and then they have the Devastators taking off with a torpedo and a pair of 500-pound bombs. That thing could barely waddle off the deck with a torpedo. You add another 500 or 1,000 pounds on ordnance, and it's just going in the damn water. And then you see them on their bomb runs carrying these unnecessary 500-pounders, which, by the way, the TBD did not have 500-pounder racks on it like that. You had to swap out the torpedo for the bombs. You couldn't hang on the wings. The only wing racks the TBD had were for little 100-pounders or 50-pounders, and they had special racks. You had to remove a panel. They went up in there. It's a whole thing that I don't think even ever used. And Roland Emmerich just made it looked good on, and like, to paraphrase our good friend Dan Monroe, directors.
Hey, it's the movies.
No, I gotta call BS on that one, and I'll tell you why, Steve. When you're making a movie like Bullet with the chase scene where they lose 8 hubcaps, that's the movies, okay? But when you're recreating a very important historical event like the Dam Busters or Midway or Pearl Harbor, you have a debt to the truth. That's my opinion. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I'm sorry. I can't
Stick to it.
I can't bend that far. And trust me, you know what? I'm not going to say that. Okay, on to the next thing. Anyway, but perhaps to paraphrase the great YouTuber Ron Rogers, I digress. If you haven't seen Ron Rogers, he's a retired Air Force pilot and airline pilot who has a YouTube channel, Ron Rogers. Go check it out. He just basically telling flying stories, a lot of great stuff. He seems like a really great guy. Now, there are 2 other movies I'm going to talk about, and we're probably going to wind up going to the weeds. And since we've been talking about Pearl Harbor, I guess Tora is the one to start off with. Actually, we've already talked about that, I guess. Man, look at those models. Those are just fantastic, and some of them still exist. I remember in the 80s, I think, or 90s, seeing a magazine where a bunch of these old models went up for sale. Warner Brothers, or whoever it was that made the movie, had put them in a warehouse. Thank God they didn't just throw them away. And they were cluttering up the warehouses, and they decided it's time to get rid of them. By the way, it's model ships in Cinema. I believe it's where I got a lot of these photos. So you can check that out if you want to. But a lot of some of these, like that carrier, I think actually ended up in museums. And one of them was in a museum here in Florida, the Military Museum. I didn't see it. I don't know if it's still there or not. I should probably see if that museum's still around. It's over in Tampa. And if you get down here, Steve, you, me, and Ian, and a couple of Trey and Fran need to jump in the car and drive down there.
That works.
Do you want to mention what's going on about your situation, or do you want to not talk about that?
No, go ahead. We could talk about it.
Well, I'll let you tell them. Steve is in the process, has decided to relocate closer to Max's models.
Well, I don't know if it's closer, but it's...
Oh, yeah, North Carolina's closer than Delaware.
We're attempting to relocate to Northwest South Carolina.
South Carolina. 2 states away, buddy. You and I can have dinner anytime we want.
There you go. Just came back from a vacation there and loved it so much that we've decided to put our house up for sale. We've got a realtor in where we want to live, and we're going to make the move.
Proud
I
of
don't
you.
know how I'm going to get all these models there, but they'll go.
Well,
the
you can.
furniture, but we'll get the models.
Well, you can store them in the TARDIS as long as you need, and you're just moving. You're moving southern. You're moving further south, state by state.
Yeah.
Anyway,
After I thought this was as far south as I wanted to go, but
well, in all honesty, being a native Southern, I'm going to tell you, you probably don't want to go much further south of the Carolinas. You're going to get down where it starts getting sweaty. You head any further south, and you'll never stop sweating. Trust me, I'm from Florida.
Yeah.
I know these things.
Well, that's why where we're going is up in the mountains.
Oh, it's beautiful up there. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, we're going to go to the northwest corner.
That's a pretty place. That's a good place
up
to
in the
be.
Adirondacks.
There you go.
4,000 feet up.
Well, here's a piece of useless trivia for you that does not apply to the Carolinas. It actually doesn't apply to North Florida, sort of. If you guys will permit me, I will tell you a story. There are 3. I live in Florida, but I live up in Jacksonville, which is the northeast corner of Florida. Central to South Florida is, and we're getting away from models here for a bit, but we are getting into sort of a quasi real life kaiju, so it kind of applies because this is Max's models and tangents are what we do. There are, whoa, careful, Max. There are 3 invasive species of animal up here in Florida, well, down in South Florida, central to South Florida, which are really causing serious problems. The Burmese pythons, the green anacondas, and boa constrictors. Now
Which are 3 reasons that we won't even consider moving to Florida.
Yeah, well, I can't fault you for that. So, anywho, these are genuine nightmare snakes. They're not really dangerous to people. Well, I don't know. There was that snake that killed those 2 boys up. There was that snake that killed those 2 boys up in Canada. Got out of the guy's collection and strangled like a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old. I forget if it was an anaconda or a python, but anyway. For the last 20-odd plus years, since the 90s actually, people were releasing Burmese pythons, anacondas, and boa constrictors into the wild. And unfortunately, having no natural predators, they flourished in South Florida. To the point that we have a couple of species of mammals that are all but extinct. Foxes and a couple of others. You don't even see them in South Florida anymore. And somebody caught film footage of one of these snakes killing and eating, I think it was an alligator. And I'm like, jeez!
There you go.
And I'm going to tell you guys a story, if you'll stay with me. I have a UFO story for you, and I have a giant snake story for you. And pardon my French, but this ain't no shit. These are things that have happened in my life here in Florida. A lot of you guys like to ask me if I've ever seen UFOs. Yes, I've seen a lot of things I couldn't identify. And as I talked about in a recent video, by the way, those pictures I used were just some stock pictures of Starlink that I grabbed online because I didn't take any pictures. Because we're not supposed to be photographing while we're flying. Anyway, coming back from Puerto Rico to Orlando on a beautiful night above 34,000 feet. We kept seeing a series of lights which looked like F-16s doing donuts. Turns out, I'm pretty sure what we were seeing was the Starlink satellites. It's the only thing that makes sense. And kind of an optical illusion, the way they were going, the way we were going, made them look like they were in a curve. But there were no position lights or anti-collision lights. We were just seeing like a landing light, and then it would disappear, and it appeared to veer off to the left, or excuse me, to the right. But that was probably just the Starlink with the aspect changing and the reflective light off the sun. Early evening, when down low it's black as night, but up high they're still catching sunlight. So anyway, and we saw them all the way from Puerto Rico till just about Fort Lauderdale. After that they disappeared, which would make sense because as the earth rotates they get out of the reflective light of the sun. And we saw it about 8 or 10 times, and my first officer is a retired naval aviator who has done a ton of night flying. So he was an old sub hunter in P3s. So, you know, we were both kind of like, what? Are F-16s doing donuts and burner or what? And we were really stumped. And I went till I got home, started doing some research, started looking at, like, okay. And we actually, yes, we called the air traffic controllers. We were not the only ones reported. They've been reported for 5 nights. And what do you know, 6 nights ago, Elon had launched one of his Starlink satellite rockets. So, okay, that all fits. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. Anyway. Just what I was actually thinking about while I was flying. I have been flying since Jimmy Carter was president. I soloed in 77 and have been flying as much as I could ever since. And I have seen a lot. Like, sailors and pilots are guaranteed to see some mysterious stuff. And after a while, you just chalk it up to optical illusions, and that sort of thing. And you don't get spooked by it anymore. But every once in a while, you see something that just makes you go, huh.
Yes, on the 2 for $3.99, could I have 2 McDoubles and a large Coke, no ice?
You are ordering food through a drive-thru on the live stream.
One large Coke, no ice.
Steve's ordering food on the live stream.
Say that, I can't hear you.
We're going to stop for station identification while
On the
Steve
2 for
orders his lunch.
$3.99, the 2 McDoubles and a large Coke, no ice.
That's everything.
That's it.
548 is the first one.
2 McDoubles. Tell me that's not just for you.
Yes, it is.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I don't not want to cry. I'm the last person who can criticize anybody else's diet, but, you know, just saying.
What could I tell you? I'm out in the car, hadn't had dinner, my wife's at work.
I'm the last guy you got to justify a pair of McDonald's to, a pair of McDoubles to.
So, weren't you relieved when you called air traffic control and they said you weren't the only ones who called that in?
Well, yes and no. There's a little bit more to the story, which kind of supports my claim that it was Starlink. The controller said, yeah, we've been getting these reports for 5 nights, which coincides with the launch of one of Elon's Starlink missions. But he goes away for a while and comes back and goes, we got nothing on radar. Nobody's got nothing on radar. And apparently it went up the food chain and no one had anything on radar because they're in freaking space. And this is the problem with nighttime. You got no depth perception. I figured that things were 60 to 70,000 feet. Turns out they were in freaking space. I am both. What is it Jakar said about the old ones in Babylon 5 about? I am both terrified and reassured that we have not, unfolded all the mysteries.
Hello.
Part of me.
And a Coke with no ice. Have a good one.
Lowest production values in the internet. I stand by it.
We want to uphold your record. The good thing Ken isn't on here. He'd be eating this stuff. And then say, what do you mean I'm making noise?
To the glue trooper who sent me this glass, thank you. It is getting its utilization. Now this is just caffeine-free iced tea. The people come to Max's Models live stream for the entertainment and stay for the stupidity. That's what we do.
Come on, this is like a vaudeville show on TV.
And loving it. Actually, I gotta be honest. I love the I don't want to say lowbrow. The fact that we just don't take ourselves too seriously here. Oh, Michael, I've seen the Pluto Godzilla channel. And, okay, I'm just going to kind of turn the volume down till you get all that squared away because it's making all kinds of racket.
Oh, sorry.
No worries.
It's squared away.
If you start smacking, I'm going to mute you.
No, I eat with my mouth closed.
I don't know how you learned to do that personally. I like to wipe the recycled ketchup off my shirt. But that's a story for another day. Dan would say that's a story for another time.
That's a slurping sound. That's not really a chewing sound.
If you don't lick ketchup off your t-shirt, you're just not trying. And other things I probably wish I hadn't said. So anyway, let me read a few of the comments here. Oh, I have to God, I'm getting old. I had to change glasses to read the comments. These glasses are all set up for the computer. If I want to read the iPad in front of me, I have to put my flying glasses on. These are my regular glasses. The other ones are just for the computer. Let's see. Apple pie. Did you get an apple pie with that? Careful not to burn your lips. They're hot inside. Oh, let's see. I want a cheese. Ricky Wagner wants a cheeseburger. Oh, thank you, Mark. That's at the like button. Say goodnight, Crazy. Get the hook. The fun job. We try to be fun. If there's one thing we don't do here is take ourselves too bloody seriously.
No seriousness ever happens here.
Yeah, seriousness not allowed. This is why I call Max, Ken, and Steve the Three Stooges. I've been called worse.
Yep.
Movies and comedy.
Not here, it's Abbott and Costello.
Yeah. Ken is scarfing his. He probably is. When the problem is Ken eats at home, and these microphones pick up certain sounds better than others, and if you smack or touch your fork to your plate or wrinkle some tinfoil or something, it comes through louder than anything else. Hey, Mo, hey, Larry. Let's see. Geschmack? I don't even know what that means. McRib. Oh, okay. Natasha wants a McRib. I don't think they're the McRibs are not. They are good. Pieces, parts fused together. Oh, thank you, Bad Omen Productions. I appreciate that. I know I'm being polite. Well, anyway, now that you have your 2 McDoubles, which, by the way, I freaking love those McDoubles. It's one of my numerous kryptonites. Christ. There's a place here just a couple of miles from my house called Mandola's, and it's an Italian place. And dadgummit, they have. Okay, I'm just gonna meet you here.
What's it called?
Hold on, you're making a bunch of racket with something. It's called Mandola's. And I took my wife there for the first time the other day. I'd been there a couple of times. And it's a very informal, kind of place that you order at the counter, and then they bring the food to the table. And
okay,
she got her entree. I tried it, and she goes, and this is absolute perfect logic. I'm going to turn Steve down because he's making a bunch of racket. Not your problem. It's just, like I say, certain things you do make a lot of noise. And she gets her entree and she tries it and she says, I really didn't want to like this place because the last thing we need is another good Italian place, but it was good. But they have an entirely set, which, by the way, on the intro that I did, that's where I shot that little 10-second pre-intro, which you'll see on the outro because I'll loop it again. They have, you go in, you order your food at the main counter, they bring you your table. But at the exit, they have all the desserts under glass, and they have, cannolis and cheesecake and coconut. And it's all just, drooling good. And which is the last thing I need. But anyway, that's in Jacksonville, Florida. And apparently, Mandola's is a chain that was started by one of the guys who helped start Carrabba's. But he wanted something less formal and less expensive. And I was like, that's all I need. But Oh, hold on. I'm going to turn you back up. Okay.
We just ate in Carrabba's the other night.
Carrabba's is good. Mandola's is a less formal version of Carrabba's, and it's good, and it's about 30% cheaper, I guess. Although really not that. It's hard to say. Depends on what you get. But I mean, look, you got to understand. My wife is a fantastic cook. We watched the first 5 seasons of Top Chef, and she can spot when they've substituted. So she's one of those people that just has that incredibly sensitive nose and incredibly sensitive palate. And and even she admitted, okay, this place is good. She liked it, which is about as high a badge of honor as a restaurant can get. Because trust me, she's trashed plenty of 5-star restaurant. But that's just like the last thing we need is another good place to eat, and it's 5 minutes down the road. They open a Whataburger 10 minutes down the road, 24 hours. Yeah, that's the last thing I needed, because Whataburger, I'm sorry, Whataburger smokes everybody. Wendy's is the only people that can put up a fight, and Whataburger still crushes them like Godzilla's heel. And now we have, literally at the end of Orange Picker, and not 10 minutes from the house, they are currently constructing a brand spanking new Chick-fil-A, which at least you can get something healthy if you try. But anyway.
Do you have Mission Barbecue?
No, we have. I've gone to them all the time in West Palm and Lauderdale. We do not have one nearby here. That's the last thing. And we do have a Sonny's just down the road. I think I live in Paradise.
They just opened a Mission Barbecue here.
They are good. They're expensive, but they're good.
Yeah, it's good though.
Now, that's if you got to remember, Mission's a little on the spicy side. You got to like that. If you like the less picante barbecue, then maybe Sonny's would be better off for you, their sweet sauce. But anyway, I think we just became the restaurant channel. Okay.
Well, if you bring Nigella on, I'm signing up.
Yeah. What?
Said if you bring Nigella on the channel, I'm signing up.
Tangella or Nigella?
Nigella.
I don't know that one.
Nigella Lawson, the chef from England.
Oh, okay. I was thinking, because of the stuff we deal in on this channel, when you said that, I thought Tangella from Creature Features.
No. Now, Tangella would scare me that she would get her hair in the...
I wouldn't get near Tangella. I'm pretty sure that Tangella scares me more than the green slime. She's spooky creepy. And the actress that plays her does a perfect job, by the way.
Yeah, she does.
For those of us in Creature Features, you know what? Just go Winston, Tangella, all of them. That is my dream job, is to have a job like he has. The local TV station was to hire me to be the host for a sci-fi feature channel thing. That is the kind of job that would make me want to... Okay, you know what? I'm not even going to say that. I'm just going to say that's the job I would very much like to have.
If you took a couple of videos of some of these live streams and some of the other stuff you did, and you went to a TV station and pitched them about that, I bet they'd give it to you.
Could happen.
Yeah.
I think that people like Elvira and the guys Creature Features and the rest of them, they've kind of broken the code and shown that people want to enjoy their movie, but at the same time, they want to be, for lack of a better phrase, harmlessly scared. And
entertained at the same time.
And entertained. And I was really kind of disappointed to learn, you know what, I don't want to say that because I don't want to hurt his mojo. The whole thing on Creature Features is a fabrication. But at the same time, that's showbiz. That's all. What is it he said in Elvis? You know, every showman is a snowman. And people don't care. They don't want to know the truth. They don't want to know about your. They want to know the fiction and the fantasy and that kind of thing. Nobody wants to know that when they watch Murphy's War, they don't want to know that Sean, that the woman who played the doctor, is his real life wife. That's kind of interesting trivia. They don't want to know that Peter O'Toole is a bad alcoholic. What they want to see is the malcontent Irishman bent on revenge. And when the problem with dissecting all this stuff and getting in the minutiae is it kind of kills the magic a little bit. One of the things that was one of my favorite scenes in Murphy's War, which we talked about, was when the Germans show up, you know, with their post-war, you know, Guppy modified Type 9 U-boat, and shoot up the village and blow up the Grumman Duck. And I was very impressed by that scene because it was so well done. And then I found that photograph that I used that shows that the Grumman Duck model, because I knew they didn't blow up a real Grumman Duck, J2F, Grumman J2F Duck. I think it was a Dash 6. But I knew full well they didn't destroy a real airplane. But it looked so good on film. And it turns out that when I found that one... Let me see if I can find that photograph real quick. Hold on. Give me just a second here. Image. Okay. And here we go on the photo hunt. Let's see. D. Did I already move the Murphy's War stuff? Oh, there it is. Let's see if I have it. Okay, gotta switch glasses again. Sorry, guys. Stand by just a second. Oh, God. Let's see. I know. Oh, here it is. There we go. Okay. This is I'm pretty sure is the miniature of the Grumman Duck. Now, you're going to see it in about 30 seconds. But this was a very detailed, very large scale, probably 1/3 or 1/4 scale model that had to have all the internal framing so that it would blow up and burn like a real airplane. And you can tell by the size of the guys that are crawling around on it, probably getting ready to take it apart and move from the set, how big this thing is. This is what they built for a 5 or 7 second scene where they blow the thing up and burn it. But that's what it took to make it look real. The model work is great. It's very convincing on camera. And what was I completely lost my train of thought. What was I talking about?
Oh, you were talking about how good the model work is for
Well,
the amount of time that it spends on the screen.
Yes. And how long do you think it took to build that thing? I mean, look at the detail behind it and everything. The rudder's completely burned off and blown away. And
It probably took a bunch of guys about a month to make that or more.
And it's on screen for maybe 10 seconds. But it's a convincing 10 seconds. Now, there's two ways of looking at this. One is that, oh, this poor model took months to do, and it's gone in 10 seconds. Or, another way to look at it is, it's here for eternity every time somebody watches the movie.
On film.
Exactly.
Right.
So,
And that's the way they look at it when they make it.
that's the way you have to look at it. This movie was made 53 years ago. People still watch this bit and piece that's on the trailers on YouTube, and I'm sure there are people who still rent the movie. So 53 years later, after most of the cast and creators have long since passed, you know, maybe one of these young guys that's working on it's still around, and he would be in his 70s or maybe 80s now, and he's going, that's me. I worked on that. I was a part of something that lasted this many years. Oh, Ken's here.
Look at it. Look.
Hang on, I'm
Look
going
at
to
it
check.
another way.
Hold on, I'm going to bring Ken in.
Okay.
Kenneth?
What is?
Hey.
Hey.
Well, welcome aboard. Now, stand by.
On the boat.
Huh? Yes, good. Now, stand by. Steve had something to say. Steve, go ahead. Steve? Steve? Well, I'm pretty sure I merged him in the call. Steve, are you there?
You lost Steve.
Oh, crap. Hang on.
Communication terminated.
Guys, operator, headspace, and timing. Stand by one, please. I will be back with you momentarily. In the meantime, please enjoy this little video for your entertainment. It's like they know all of my kryptonites. Okay. It's insidious.
Southern men, the thunders mutter, northern flags and south winds flutter. To arms, to arms, to arms, in Dixie. Send them back your fierce defiance, stamp upon the cursed alliance. To arms, to arms, to arms, in Dixie. Advance the flag of Dixie, hurrah, hurrah. For Dixie's land we take our stand and live or die for Dixie. To arms, to arms, and conquer peace for Dixie. To arms, and conquer peace for Dixie. Fear no danger, shun no labor, lift up rifle, pike, and saber. To arms, to arms.
And think how many of these props, in some manner, way, shape, or form, are still out there.
Yeah?
There's still a lot of them that are in museums, in collections, still in warehouses that have been repurposed or modified, but they're still, the bones of them are still there.
Yeah, they are. And what kind of breaks my heart in many cases is when a model, a prop. I understand they need to be modified. It's a business. I get that, and I'm not unsympathetic to it. But personally, and I'm speaking for myself as a hopeless romantic, when I see a prop from a movie, I'm thinking, this movie was popular. That needs to go in some kind of Hollywood prop museum and never be touched again by human hands.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that makes all these props so valuable is a lot of them get destroyed.
Ow! Hurtful, true, but hurtful.
Sorry.
No, I mean, you're right. It's just the truth. What does they say? The truth hurts. But you're not wrong.
Did you ever go to the Sci-Fi Museum in Seattle, the one that Paul Allen had?
No, the Pop Culture Museum. Where the two original Klingon ships are at? No, I need to go there.
And they have the original ship from Destination Moon. And they have a board.
You're killing me, Manoia.
Oh, they got a ton of stuff there. I was amazed when I went there. I was like, wow, this is really cool.
Well, guess where Max is going to go get a
Yeah, Shaggy Buzz, they are talking about the Confederacy. That is an old Confederate song. For those who do not know...
Well, look at we talked about models. We were talking about models. One of the models that you never see much of or hear much about, except in the Big Bang Theory, was the original time machine.
Yes, that is true.
I mean, and that was something that they totally made from scratch.
And if I'm not mistaken, you had an opportunity to get a kit model of it and decided not to because of the complexity of it.
Yeah, and it was $700. But
what?
Oh.
For a scale model?
For that much, it better actually work.
I was going to say, for $700, it better be the real one.
No, and the lighting kit was an extra $300.
Oh, that didn't even include the lights. Wow.
No. And I mean, when you look at the fact that the guys on the Big Bang bought it on eBay for only $600.
Okay, I'm going to tell you right now that $1,000 for a lighting kit of the time machine in scale and resin is a classic example of nerds have more money than sense.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Some have more money than others.
Yeah, we're all nerds. You know, Ken, I hadn't even thought about it till you said that, but there's actually a lot of truth in that.
Yeah, we're just kids.
The three. Oh, by the way, hold on.
I saw something today on Instagram, and it was a guy, and he said, women think that when they marry a man, that he might be a little immature, and they're going to change him.
Oh, I know where this is going.
He says, but what most women don't understand is that men stop maturing when they're about 12.
And I don't
Say 13. Yeah, that's about right.
And he said, and they stay that way until they get to be about 80.
And then they die.
And then they kind of come around, and I'm like, well, that fits everybody I know,
Oh, wait a minute. Some comments here in the comment section. Somebody mentioned Dan Monroe. We need a mashup of Jay Leno and Dan Monroe. Dan Monroe did a video on it. Dan Monroe did a video on what? Let's see here. Oh gosh, I got the wrong glasses.
Paul Adams says, I am a nerd, but I do not have any money. It all goes to models.
Yeah, you have a new brother, Ken.
Hence why you're a nerd.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
Yes, the Enterprise is in the Smithsonian. I've seen it many times. Take my picture with it.
Hey, come on. But this week was my wedding anniversary. So my wife said to me, she said, look, I have this much money to spend on an anniversary gift for you. And so you go and see what you want, and I'll just give you the money. Where was I? I was in a collectible store looking at old Transformer Dinobots.
Okay.
Okay, now, there are a couple of things in the comment section I need to comment on. First off, yes, the original large Enterprise is in the Smithsonian, and for a while they had it in the gift shop, which I thought was a terrible disgrace. But the 3-foot one was recently returned, although there have been a lot of issues with that, and it is pretty dinged up. But
the original people who found it are pretty ticked off that they didn't get any money for it.
Well, they had no business with it to begin with. Anyway, the thing was basically stolen, so they really don't have a claim to it. But the original Klingon ships are in the Pop Culture Museum, Paul Allen's. By the way, I know we talked about this. I did a video on it, but the Klingon ships were built. AMT footed the build for having them made. One was made for the studio special. The other was made to come apart so that AMT could make the Klingon model. And the model was, in fact, on the shelves before it appeared on the show. That was really great. There's a guy out there, and I should have kept his name, I forget, who is 3D printing the original Star Trek shuttle, which looks nothing like the Galileo. It's the one with all the curved features, very Art Deco. The original Matt Jeffries design, they said was too expensive. And he's doing a build on it, and it's magnificent looking, but oh my God, you need a 3D printer. Ken?
Yeah.
Let me ask.
I might have to find that file and send it to you.
When I worked at AMT, we did the Enterprise for when they came out with Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when they modified it. So I went to the Star Trek convention in New York City, and I had a bunch of the cell sheets from it.
Uh-huh. These
people practically tore me apart to get one of these cell sheets. I could have sold these things for $100 a piece. I mean, they just it was unbelievable. But we had the cell sheet out and the kit before the movie came out.
That I'm inclined to go get my one off the shelf, but it's in the other room. By the way, guys, you may notice over my head, I put the USS Arizona build in the background and rearranged this place because we're talking so much about ships tonight. That's why I have all this set dressing back here. But we will be talking about one more movie with models in detail. Oh, by the way, as a side note, real quick, my lovely wife is stuck somewhere else taking care of a family pet. So I'm kind of on the loose tonight. We can go as long as we want. All right? We're not constrained by the normal.
Okay.
So just FYI.
Okay. By the way, you're talking about 3D printing?
Yes.
I 3D printed another starship.
Oh, really? Oh, hold on. You mean like the one you made for me?
Yes.
Oh, hold on. Let me. You guys keep talking. It's right there. I'm gonna go get it.
Does this mean we're going to make a moon base now with the two ships landed?
Well, I was thinking when Max told me when he showed it last time that there were a few people that said, "Oh, I want one too," and I thought, okay. So I printed all the parts. It's a kit. I'll let it go for, I don't know. What do you think, Steve? What do you think?
You tell us, Ken. What does it cost?
I don't want to say, Ken, because I wasn't aware of the intricacies of making it, nor the cost of the filament.
The filament wasn't that bad. Probably.
How many reels?
I guess about a half a reel.
All right, so
But it took
I'll be back. You guys keep talking.
me almost 2 weeks to print it, though.
Wow.
I'm thinking. $100.
Okay, that seems fair. If somebody wants one for $100, let me know. I'll package it up and I'll send it off. Like I said, it's a kit. It's all in pieces. You have to glue it together and you have to buy the magnets and put the magnets in. The magnets will cost maybe 40, maybe $50.
Plus
3D
shipping.
resin printers? Yeah, plus shipping. No, I don't have a 3D resin printer. They tend to smell a lot. So I don't have one of those. Anyway, so if anybody's interested,
You need to have Max put that up on the screen so everybody could get a good look at it.
we've got it sitting there on the side right now.
I'm not looking at the screens because I'm in the car. But
Oh, okay. He left
Yeah,
the room
we-
for some reason.
well, hopefully it's a bathroom break and not another drink.
Can't you print a 3D printer? No. Okay.
No, that was a nice kit. You know.
Well, I'll sell the first one for $100. If anybody's interested, just let me know. And if you want to,
And then Ken will, and then if you want to buy two, he'll sell you the next one for $99.
Otherwise, 3D printing is becoming more and more like the flying car. I can't wait days and days for my printer to make a part when I need the part right now. So we're going to have to do something. But you can get faster printers now if you would just want to pay more.
Well, my voice is way ahead of the images you guys are seeing, like by 30 seconds. And oh my God, I've gotten fat. Anyway, so.
No, hang on a second. Francis, no, the files are not. I had to buy them. And no, they weren't in Thingiverse.
That you know of.
Nope. Well,
Do you think he's going to tell you where the files are if he's trying to sell you the rocket?
Well,
I mean, come on now.
You know, between.
yeah, I think 100 is cheap too, but
No, 100 is
dirty.
guys. Literally, this is a very with the magnets and everything. This is and you guys. The only thing I'm trying to promote is Lewis Lee's TV show, A Model Life, which I've done a couple of promo ads for, and I think there's a link in the description here. I really hope that gets going. But this, I have not tried. I never try to pump anything on anybody. The reason I'm pumping A Model Life is because I think it's a great project. But this is something that, trust me, I wouldn't have batted an eye at paying $100 for this, or $200 for that matter. Ken did this for me when he and Ricky gave this to me. I was on the edge of tears. This is so nice, and it's just, you've got there's the bottom with the blade of material. This is beautiful. I've got one of the engines laying over here because I lost one of the magnets, but which actually we lost at the Denny's, but that's another story.
Wow, brought him to tears, Ken. Wow.
Almost. Almost
I only
tears.
I only thought that happened when you took his food away.
No, them's fighting words. That ain't tears. That's prepping for battle. That's a whole nother thing.
That's when he starts growling at you.
Don't go to the dark place, Steve. We really should be a TV show. But they never let us play with. They never let us get away with drinking the crap, doing the crap. Oh my God, in Nino Veritas, baby. They never let us get away with drinking on TV.
Well, Dean Martin did it. We could do the same thing.
The best line ever from the Dean Martin roasts is Dean gets up there and wipes his eye and goes, "I'll remember this night all the way to my car." God, I remember seeing those. You know, do you guys remember when you waited for TV shows? You know, everything went on demand. Yeah. And the Dean Martin roast was something that I always waited. Foster Brooks, Don Rickles, Red Fox. Oh, God, what a crowd.
I remember the night on the Dean Martin roast where he picked up Sammy Davis Jr. and he said, "I want to thank the NAACP for this award."
Back when you could do that. That was pre-cancellation. By the way, Fran, thanks, Ken. I did the Thunderbird 2 kit for Trey, like you said. Wait a minute. Whoa. I gave Trey that. Okay, hold on, Fran. I gave Trey that Thunderbird 2 thing. What all did you do? I am so confused. By the way, Trey, are you out there? I don't know. Trey may be busy. You know, we have okay. I want to say this in a way that doesn't offend anybody, but I'm not sure that's possible.
Do it anyway.
Okay.
We have, okay, the couple of years that this channel's gotten traction, 3 years or whatever, there are a couple of names that I have gotten to recognize because they've been here. Obviously Garfield, Trey, Fran, Chris Pacer, Bill Campbell, a bunch of others. You guys send me stuff all the time, and I do appreciate it. Regrettably, my goldfish brain tends to lose track of a lot of stuff, but some of the names, we see them all the time. They're so familiar, and it's really great to see them because we've created kind of a community. Guys, if I forget something, don't take it personal. I get about 60 emails to 100 emails a day. I try to keep the stuff straight between, you know, real life issues and work and everything else. But what are you snickering at?
Why start now?
What? Yeah, why start now? But and so many bacon, onion, and pineapple. Oh, that is, to paraphrase the great Guy Fleeman. That's just raw. That's not right. But pineapple's really crisp. You had to go there. So anyway, we ain't snowflakes. Thank you, Ray. And Ray's one of Ray Wyatt's one of them. I remember also.
It's like pineapple pizza.
No, that I can do. But onions and pineapple, that's like ketchup and a banana split.
Did you ever see the guy on YouTube and he says, "I'm going to show you how to make a pineapple pizza," and he goes through all the steps. He puts the dough out, he puts everything in, puts it in the oven, he opens the oven, he takes it out on the little spatula, and he goes, and it's done, and throws it in the garbage.
I had a feeling
That's
that was
what you do
coming.
with
Yeah.
pineapple pizza.
Yeah. I remember the first time I had pineapple pizza was in Cape May, New Jersey. Stan Shapiro, my boss, ordered a bunch of pizzas, and one of them was pineapple. It was a Hawaiian pizza, which had pineapple and ham. And I remember eating it going, this is wrong, and then I ate the rest of it.
Yeah, pineapple and ham on a pizza with sauce doesn't go.
But
sorry.
it doesn't go, but it goes down.
delicious.
You know, my attitude is, it may be wrong.
Yeah.
Well, Steve, you have to understand my philosophy is, well, I hate to say it this way, but as an obese guy, it may be wrong. That will not stop me from eating it.
It's still
And I am
decent.
stopping right there before I say the next thought that came through my mind, which was going to get away from the child-friendly nature of our show.
Okay.
And
Hey,
all
for
that
attention.
implies. Miss you, baby.
Hawaiian pizza invented in Canada.
Well, since you brought up the since you brought up the Canadians, I feel compelled to point out something. Our former president made the comment that Canada has always punched above its weight, and my response to that is clearly you haven't seen Slapshot. You know.
Or what's that other one with the corner drug convenience store?
Corner gas or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there are. I actually watch that show a lot. John Kitt at Scale Car Garage told me you've got to watch Letterkenny. He told me this a few years ago, and I made the mistake of watching a few snippets from Letterkenny and became addicted. And Kiso, the guy who did Letterkenny, got another show that followed on to it, following one of the characters, and which had a very different bent to it. But then I had already watched Corner Gas, and I'd seen some of Mike Myers stuff, and I started watching Canadian, and then I got hooked on the Red Green Show. The Canadians, God bless them. If there is one place they truly punch above their weight, it's in comedy. And Stephen Smith, who did the Red Green Show, I mean, I've got my model of the possum van that I did for our Canadian, but that was what the Red Green Show is what prompted me to do the Canadian build that we did some time back. And I've been to Canada more times than I can count because I used to go there regularly. Montreal, Toronto. I've only been to Ottawa or Ottawa, however you pronounce it, a couple of times. Never got off the airport, but heck, I don't even think I got off the plane. But I did my CRJ training in
That's
Montreal.
probably for survival. It's cold as hell up there in the winter.
Well, it is, and I did my training in Montreal in the winter. And but I got to be honest, I really fell in love with Canada. I love Canadians. I love Canada, and those people do a lot with what they have. And I don't.
Canadians are the friendliest people on the planet.
Yeah, until you get them on ice skates with a
Okay.
hockey stick.
Well, that aggression's got to go somewhere.
Well, I am convinced that whereas we have that movie, The Purge.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, Canadians have
That's
hockey.
what
They
hockey
don't.
is for Canada.
Canadians don't need the Purge. They've got hockey.
Hockey is just a legalized excuse for beating the crap out of everybody else.
Yeah, I am not seeing the downside.
Gosh, I think you have to be funny if you see that much snow for the year.
Well, what does that mean? Stay. You know, Canada. Was it stay for the kindness, and then because your car won't start? But
Yeah. What's the coldest you've ever been in Canada?
well, I used to fly up there year round, so I've been through Canadian winters, and okay. Since you brought that up,
He was also in Bangor, Maine for a while.
oh yeah, I was based in Presque Isle. Used to fly into Bangor and all those good places. And I will tell you right now that Buffalo gets worse winters than Canada, thanks to Canada. because that Canadian crap blows over the the Great Lakes, super freezes, and it's buffalo. Because
Buffalo's nothing compared to Western Canada.
okay, well now since we're gonna talk about Canada. By the way, I have one more thing here we're gonna get to before. And for the record, guys, you're not getting what?
Let me say something.
Say.
God, you make it really hard to like put something in sideways.
That's my superpower.
Oh. Alfred says, go to a fight and a hockey game breaks out.
Heard that, yeah. I heard that one in the 70s, and it's still true today.
Tom says, hockey is the only sport with a built-in penal system and a rail-side jail.
Yeah, another reason to love it. Okay. I want to proffer you guys what were we talking about that I've forgotten about because I told you I got a goldfish memory.
We were talking about what's the coldest you've been in Canada.
Okay.
That's what we were talking about.
I flew to Canada year-round and Buffalo year-round and Boston year-round. All these places get the blowdown from Canada. And it is true that crap blows over the Great Lakes, super cools, and hits Buffalo in some ways harder than it hits Canada. It's not colder, but they get more like snow buildup and stuff. Now, I mean, come on, this took down the Edmund Fitzgerald, for God's sakes.
Which is called lake effect.
Mm-hmm. That is exactly correct, my good man. Lake effect. So, oh wow, I just mixed tea and bourbon. I have no idea how much of this is tea and how much is bourbon, and I don't really care. So anywho, here's the deal. Okay.
Is he crossing again?
Well, crossover Tora. Look at that, the thingy stuck to the bottom.
Or does that prevent the coughing?
Cough medicine for those who don't get to drink. Oh wow, that's kind of washed. Okay, I'm trying to show you guys this, but it washes out when you get close.
Actually, cough medicine's not too far from an alcoholic drink.
These are doilies from the Connie in New York. So anyway, back to your point. Okay, you know what? Let's jump into this thing. Let's lean into it, as the training department would say. I have flown into Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, New York, Boston, Montreal, and Toronto in the dead of winter.
Yes.
And Pittsburgh. And Philadelphia, and I hit those for a reason. So since we're on that subject, let's lean into that a little bit. Canada does have some brutal winters. But, and there's always the operative but, Canada knows how to deal with it. I shall regale you with a story if you will allow me. Maybe even if you don't.
Oh, please, Max, please regale us.
And even if you don't, because I have the microphone. Okay.
Somehow I don't think there's a choice here.
Well, there is a choice. It happens, but it's mine. So, anywho, I went into Montreal in the dead of frickin' winter. My God, I was jump seating on a 737. We saw the runway about 3 feet before we hit it. And, I mean, it was that...
Mark says, thanks, Max. I don't like to drink alone.
Well, you're most very welcome, my good man. Doing what I can to help out my friends. So, anyway, we go... the worst approach into Montreal, I was actually jump seating a U.S. Air, back when there was a U.S. Air, 737. And the guy goes, minimums, and I'm sitting in the jump seat looking at it, and I don't see diddly. And he goes, runway. I'm like, you're freaking lying. But there was the runway, and we could see the center stripe a little gray, and we landed, and the snow was actually covering the sides of the runway. They land, I'm like, welcome to another day at the office. They land, and we get to the gate. But with me flying the airplane, I had gone to Toronto, Montreal, all of them in the dead of winter. And the thing is that leaving is actually a bigger deal than getting in, because you have to be de-iced and everything. We go to Montreal, dead of winter, crap's blowing everywhere. We go up to the de-icing lane, and to their credit, The Canadians very much understand winter. I just watched the Dune 2 with my wife last night, and they're telling Paul Atreides how he has to, be one with the desert and blah, blah, blah. And now that we bring this up, I'm thinking, in Canada, the Canadians are very much one with the winter. They had this set up. No, really.
Okay.
Joking aside, the Canadians have this set up better than anyone I've ever seen. They will not let you into the de-icing lane until you have your clearance. You go in, they blast you, and you go. And once you come out of the de-icing booth, sprayed with Type 1 to clean everything else, to clean everything off, or Type 2, and gooped with Type 4 to keep anything new from adhering. And they clear you, and it's end of runway de-icing, which is something American airline pilots have been screaming for years, which Philly and Pittsburgh both have, but almost no others. We were basically cleared to go to the runway and very promptly cleared for takeoff, leaving the de-icing booth, which was at the end of the runway. So once they were done de-icing us, we did our checklist. We said, air shuttle blah blah is ready to go. And they said air shuttle. Okay, I'm getting some beeping noise from somebody. Anyway, they said air shuttle yada yada yada. You're clear. Air shuttle 1 2 3 4 clear for takeoff. It took us about 20 seconds to get to the runway at Montreal. The airplane was perfect. The crap was blowing everywhere. But with that Type 4 green heated snot all over the airplane, we had several minutes before it would cling, and we blasted off clean. It was absolutely perfectly done. And I have always admired the way the Canadians handle the winter since then. But they know what they're doing. This is the world they live in. Unfortunately, down here in the U.S., a few airports like Philly and Pitt have picked up on it. But there are a lot of places, and I won't mention, like New York or New Jersey or a whole bunch of others, or Boston, others that don't have that yet. Boston's kind of into the runway de-ice, depending on which runway is active. And as you guys know, there was a skid incident recently that resulted in a couple of planes touching each other at a de-icing pad in Boston a while back. So
Ken,
why?
Explain to me what this had to do with me saying what was the coldest temperature you were ever in Canada at.
I'm not sure. Somebody else said, I thought this was a modeling channel.
You know what? You're right. We should probably get back. We have really derailed. But I just wanted to give Canada its props for the great job they do handling the winters. They know what they're doing, and the world could take a lesson from them. Now, back to models. The last one we're going to cover, we're talking about models in movies, and it was 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. And hold on, let me back up to the beginning. I didn't think about it before, but 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, which I saw in the theater probably in the late 60s, this was a movie that was actually made in, 20,000 Leagues was made in 54. Yet it was still in the theaters in the mid-60s, re-released, which you could do back then. This is a fantastic movie. And it was a lot of Lidecker work, on rails and wires to make everything go straight. But when I saw the movie, I was completely It was my first Kurt Douglas movie that I can recall. And the scenes that they had in the movie where the Nautilus went after the, I guess it was a slave ship, the green glow under the water. It was like, I didn't think about this, but it terrified me as much as like War of the Worlds and the others. And that scene where they go after the ship and clip the bottom out from under it still stands up to me as one of the finest. It holds up today. It's all model work and practical effects. It's just that movie, and they froth the waters to get around the scale issue. The squid wasn't terribly convincing. I mean, it was convincing enough, but why would the squid go after a submarine? You know, that's just, even as a kid, I realized that was drama for the sake of drama. But I don't know. I just thought that 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea not only had fantastic model work, but it was actually in some. Those, by the way, all those lamps you see around that were to give it that green glow, and Disney really outdid themselves in this film. I think it's still one of the greatest movies they ever put out. And it had a much darker theme than a lot of their films, too, which was good on them for that. Steve, Ken?
Yes. Well, how much darker could it be than Bambi?
What?
Where you shot his mother. You know.
That was heavy stuff back when he was 12 years old.
Well,
They shot Bambi! Those bastards!
Well, I mean, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, in its own way, was like an anti-war movie.
It was, yes. Nemo was a bit of a madman, but, well, hold on. Let's just, let me pause this.
Herman says, Max, you know kaiju does not need a reason to attack anything.
True that, brother. True that. Hold on. Let me see if I've got that clip. Let me see if I can, so we can just watch it.
Tom Fox says submarines are good eating. Ask Godzilla.
Well, that was a big joke, was the most inaccurate part of the new Godzilla movie was a submarine survived. Let me see. If I have... Okay, guys, we're going to watch this scene from 20,000 Leagues. Man, you tell me what... And I remember this vividly seeing as a kid. Like I say, my first Kirk Douglas movie. All right? Let's see what you think.
Stand by engines. Half ahead. Collision speed full.
Collision speed full.
Professor, are you all right? All those men, they didn't even have a chance.
They were sailors, same as me. Slaughtered by that monster you're trying to make friends with.
They don't.
I don't know how you feel, Professor, but I feel like a knife that's just stabbed a friend in the back.
Go to your quarters.
I've had a belly full.
And we're back. I remember.
What's interesting about this movie?
What?
What's interesting about this movie?
What?
No women.
Yeah. Well, you know, I didn't think about that, but that was all model work, and Disney. I just think they really outdid it. Okay, I remember seeing this as a kid. Probably I was 8 years old, so it would have been late '60s. That means that a movie that was hold on. That means that a movie that was 10 years old was still being recycled through the theaters. Back when you could do that, because there was no, went on TV and there was no YouTube. But the model work was fantastic. It was Lidecker, so they were on wires. But it holds up today. And those guys were great at what they did. And I remember seeing that as a in the theater. And like I say, I didn't think about it, but all those lights under the sub, or all those green lights were put around the submarine to give it, that underwater glow effect. And I had not really appreciated the time, but that movie kind of here's the picture of the submarine model with all of the lights around it that gave it that green glow. But I did not appreciate it at the time. I mean, I couldn't. I was a kid. But that probably, in some ways, scared me almost as much as the Martians from War of the Worlds, or or Godzilla, or the Invaders landing. That green glow under the water was so ethereal and terrifying. And Disney just did such a fantastic job. Of course, James Mason, Peter Lorre, Kirk Douglas. I mean, crap, how can you go wrong with those guys, acting? But
Walter Bosley says, women are in the beginning, then it gets good after that.
Well, it reminds me of the episode of Cheers when they ask Cliff, have you ever been with, what is it about women? He goes, women, they're warm and they're soft, and he sort of drifts into nothingness. But no, this is definitely one of those movies that didn't need that. And although the later Nemo movies had it, and I don't know if they enhanced it or not, depends on who you ask. But this movie was made in '54, which had a very different dilemma or social dynamic. In fact, if you look behind, one of the things that's funny, if you look behind the submarine, you see the car behind it, and that gives you an idea of when this was made. And so, I'm thinking there was just a different attitude back then. But the submarine, the thing is, I watched the movie, and as a kid, I'm intimidated and terrified by the green glow under the water. And even as a kid, I probably knew it's just a bunch of light bulbs and stuff, to give it. But somehow it grabbed your imagination. And the Nautilus itself became for lack of a better way to put it, the Nautilus became a form of kaiju.
Yeah.
And I imagine they probably made about a half dozen different Nautiluses for different kinds of shots. These half ones, that for the specific shots, and full ones for the underwater stuff. And I don't know if they actually shot underwater or it was effects or whatever. A lot of movies with submarines, they're not even shot in the water. The effects are added later. And that makes sense. You can do Lidecker work and everything, erase any wires that are visible, add the ocean effects. But this movie, they had to actually run it underwater to do it. That's just, they didn't have the effects they have now. So a lot more practical stuff. And I just love the model work that was behind it, and respect the guys that did. And I realized, to the guys who built the stuff, just another day at the office, nothing romantic about it. But as a kid who watched this stuff and was intrigued by it, and a model builder today, I can't help but be just kind of captivated by it.
Meanwhile, this movie was my son's favorite movie growing up.
I don't blame him.
He watched it every day for years. And
Wow.
when I took him to Disneyland, we of course had to go on the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea ride.
When there was
Of
one.
course.
There was one, and
Back then, yeah. I've been on it.
he went on it so many times that he could recite what Captain Nemo said on the ride through the speakers in the submarine. Of course, if you ask him today what his social security number is, he'll look at you with a blank stare.
Priorities.
Yeah.
He and I will probably be hanging out here in a couple of weeks here when I go to San Diego.
That's right. When you go to San Diego, you'll be, just make sure your insurance is paid off.
Yeah, I keep it paid up. I'm old and fat, so you never know. But I tell you though, the whole, I don't know. I didn't think about it, so I thought, what?
That submarine was magnificent. That was one of the best special effects models of moviedom.
I agree. I absolutely agree. And I'll tell you something else. I didn't think about it at the time, right? Because when I was a kid, I vividly remember the impact that scene had on me. It both terrified and intrigued me. And when I watched movies like Godzilla as a kid, I was just, oh my, they're scary movies and it scared me. Great, job done. I watched The Invaders and War of the Worlds. They terrified me. This movie kind of terrified me, but also intrigued me, which I didn't think about it. So I started working on this live stream, and it's amazing the things you kind of forget about. And I realized that this movie had a little more of an impact on me than I thought about. I lamented that I never, born and raised in Florida, and never went to Disney. And I think I first went to Disney around 95 or something like that. Because, okay. All right, let's go ahead and go down this rabbit hole real quick. What the hey, we're here. It's after 9 o'clock. Guys, for those of you who like to watch Max's Models, the official Max's Models live stream is now over. We are now in the after show, which has no rules whatsoever of any kind. So if you're looking for more kit model stuff, we're probably done for the night. If you want to talk about just whatever extraneous comes up, that's where we're at. So,
like we've been doing for the last 2 hours.
Yeah, pretty much. But I actually had stuff, model-related stuff, and I never even got into the cars, into the planes of moviedom, because I realized that we weren't going to have time. And real quick, the model cars I wanted to talk about were ones that I saw that these guys made these big 1/10 scale model cars of for movies like Dante's Peak and the others, where the cars get washed away. And I really thought, wouldn't it be easier just to cheaper just to wash away a real Jeep Grand Cherokee than have somebody go to the trouble and make one? But the directors get a lot more control when they work with models. And
Diane Smith says, "There's a quick rabbit hole."
No, there is never.
John Jones says pants now optional.
Still waiting for the pizza.
Yeah.
Kudos on keeping me honest. Anyway,
Hawaiian pizza?
my mind is going like 9 different directions at once. Part of me wants to talk about cars. Part of me wants to talk about cars. Part of me wants to talk about old movies. I want to go all these. There's so much content I want to make. My brain is giving me ideas faster than my hands can create it. And I still have to earn a living and sleep.
Into the buffet, huh?
Yeah, my wife gave me the greatest compliment ever today. I won't give you all the minutiae. I'll just go to this. I made some bizarre reference to something else. She goes, "Your mind okay, I'm going to get this wrong, but it's your mind is a vast swamp of information or knowledge. Your mind.
Interesting choice of
No,
words.
shit, your mind is a magnificent swamp of information. And I was like, that needs to be a t-shirt. My mind is a vast swamp of is a magnificent swamp of information. What happens is...
The crab said, Max has one rule. If it has wings, it's a subject we're going to talk about.
Well, that's not wrong.
Pretty much.
And submarines fly through the water, so there you go. But how can I put this? Between
Train the swap, Max.
okay, so we have a world that we all live in that is made up of reality, or I should say, impressions of reality and fantasy. We build real things like real spacecraft and real and ships and real things that exist. We have an eye towards history. At the same time, we're not above having an eye towards, I guess you could say fantasy, science fiction, the what could be. We love all this stuff. Most of us grew up on what would today be considered second-rate science fiction, which I wouldn't trade for anything, and first-rate science reality. Here, you can't see it, but right here on my left in my office, I have a hard copy on a board of First Man on the Moon. One small step for man, one giant step for mankind. The Chicago Courier. Above it is Mike Machat's artwork of the X-15 landing with the F-104 behind it. But immediately to the right of that, right in front of me, bigger than any of them, Star Trek, the, 20-year anniversary video cassette advertisement. That's probably actually Blaine's poster, but he left it at my mom's house, so I acquired it. But here I have my Von Braun space station with a 2001 little scale Orion next to it. I have a couple of little Godzillas up here, a whole bunch of die-cast models, all the 1/72nd scale stuff up here. You go back behind me, you have the USS Arizona and the British submarine, and then you have airliners, spacecraft. The point I'm getting at is all of us live in this weird little world between history, reality, and fantasy. And it's a wonderful place to be because you can appreciate what was for real. You can appreciate what is. But you can have so much fun talking about what could be. And it's a nice place to be, actually. I meant to have more stuff on cars because last time we were so into aircraft. And Steve, you're the car guy. I wanted to throw some stuff your way, but we just never got into it this time. Maybe that'll be the next live stream. But, by the way, I am giving serious consideration of what you talked about the Jeep Grand Cherokee. I'm going to have to replace my Kia Sedona here in the next couple of years. I retire. Assuming everything goes well for the next 2.5 years, I'll be retiring at 65, which is a little less than 2.5 years down the road. I plan to buy one new or newish car before I retire, which will probably carry me to the casket. But I was thinking about what to get. And Steve, after talking to you, I thought the Grand Cherokee would be a good decision. And we might talk about it the next time. But there are some cars that fall into that category, like the Lotus Submarine from James Bond and a few others. That was a Roger Moore movie. Which one was that? The Lotus that went underwater? That we saw at Desertland? Steve? Steve?
What, the Esprit?
Man, Steve, are you here? I think Steve may have disconnected.
Maybe he's ignoring us. Maybe he went to sleep. It's past his bedtime.
Ow! God, kid. Just go for the jugular. Wow.
I wouldn't expect Steve to hold back.
Yeah. We could be a little Game of Thrones here on Max's Models. Yeah. Max's Models, a Game of Thrones edition. Okay,
There's a couple people that want to see the Starship model. Am I show them did you show them before how it comes apart? And you can actually see the insides of that thing?
It's all magnets. Okay. So, and, whoops. Inside you have all the rocket engines, and it comes apart with all the internal components. These are held by magnets, so you got to be careful, because we managed to lose one at the Denny's where Ken was first showing this to me. And you also have all the fuel lines and everything here, which you have to line up to get everything. Oh, something just hit the floor.
Gentle, Max, gentle.
I'm trying to be. Okay. Now this is when those magnets get a little aggravating. There we go. Okay. Some of your magnets don't.
The nose does not go on like that. Line the pins up.
Whoa! I lost the fuel line. Oh, ouch.
Nope.
I'll leave it. Hold on. Where did Steve go? Let me call him back. Contacts. I think he disconnected. He's been having connection issues. You may get disconnected. Well. Hey! You're back?
I got bumped again.
Yeah, you got dropped. We were talking to you and getting no answer. All right.
I was able to listen to you, but I wouldn't try to call back because I'm not somebody.
Oh, that's okay. Okay.
Just one.
That's okay. We're only hearing about half of what you say anyway.
Ah, ouch, Drew. Okay.
Okay.
Ken, where does this blue one go?
That attaches to the blue header tank.
I'm not seeing a blue header tank.
No, the other. It's in the nose cone.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. I only see where the red goes.
Well, then it hooks up to the silver tank.
Whoa! Oh, okay. Hold on.
There's a magnet in the silver tank too.
Wow. Okay, this is the first time I've taken it down this far. Okay, so that goes there. Okay, got
So
it.
we have a problem. Elon Musk is taking notes.
Elon Musk is laughing his ass off at us.
And Nathan says, John Ashley, that would be a great place to hide. Nobody would think to look inside the model rocket.
Damn it. Hold on. Oh, jeez. I just broke everything apart. Whoa! I got pieces, parts all over the place. Okay.
Nope. You're putting it on back. Look at the heat tiles. Match up the heat tiles.
I figured that out. Okay.
Oh. From the video we're seeing, I know it's 30 seconds later, you're having a lot of problems with this thing.
Nothing we can't work out, man. It's all right. As one captain I used to fly with, good old Kip used to say, no matter how bad things got, he'd look at you and go, it's all right. Okay.
Okay.
Now,
Red is the red tubing and the silver tank. That's for the methane, and the blue pieces are for the oxygen.
where? Okay, I'm missing the blue tube.
The one I just printed, the silver tank is actually red, which is what the header tank for the methane is supposed to be.
All right, where did the blue tube? There's these two tubes. Okay, they're right where they're supposed to be. Hold on. I got this. Hold on.
Should I give you an instruction book on how to put it back together?
That would have been helpful. Where's the... I wonder where the
What's
blue
Steve?
tube got off to. I'm missing a blue tube. Got those two in there. Got this one in here. Okay, that got to be rotated.
I haven't seen anybody order one yet. Does anybody want one?
Okay, somewhere around here the blue tube was probably laying on the floor somewhere. I'm just going to put it together without it and find it later.
Tom says, quit taking it apart.
Yeah, really. This was your idea, Nix.
John Jones says, I'm getting flashbacks to that snap together VW kit.
Yeah, okay. We're just missing a blue tube, that's all.
Nathan Bond says, no, seriously, guys, tell me that you haven't watched something funnier than this on television this week.
I got this. There it is. We're just missing one blue tube. Where the heck did that thing go?
Yeah, I just got that one.
Inside, there is a blue tube that is missing. I mean, I literally had it right here. Never drinking lunch rockets. Well, never drinking build rockets.
Could be worse. He could be on the bomb squad. Shaggy Buzz said, send me one, Ken. Checks in the mail.
Yeah.
Okay. Shaggy Buzz. Okay.
The
It's a
blue,
miracle.
the blue tube. Where the heck did that thing get off to?
Oh, Max is Boeing's new hire.
Ouch. Painful. Steve, are you still with us? Christ, did he get disconnected again? Whoa.
No, I don't know. Steve went off into a dead zone, I think.
Yeah.
Is
Okay.
he there?
I don't know.
Oh, okay, because we only hear about half of what you say. You're cutting in and out.
He's still here.
Yeah.
Steve?
He's there. Like I said, he goes. He says about a syllable or two, and then nothing, and then another syllable or two, and then nothing. I had many a misadventure in modeling when alcohol was involved. Oh, you might want to change your position in the frame there, Max. All I can see is your stomach.
I'm trying to find the missing blue tube. Oh, There's the inside with the blue and red. Here's the inside with the red. The blue dropped somewhere and I can't find it. Here's the stand.
Walk away.
And here they are together.
Nathan says, I'm always amazed at how far across the room I find my missing parts when I drop them on the floor.
Yeah, really. No kidding. It's not on the desk.
Maybe it fell inside the model.
Well, I was thinking that, but it was... This is the only part that's going to land safely.
Roy says, as Max's first officer says, Max, sit down and don't touch anything.
Really? Okay.
Max stop playing with it, or you're going to break it. If you're going to drop your rocket and break it, which he just did.
We're a little late for that. Ah! I found a piece of red. Where the? Whoa! That doesn't make any sense.
There's a flap on the floor behind you.
Okay, there's these. Why the heck did it decide to fall
Nathan
off?
says, and there we go. Who didn't see that coming?
Okay. This is just getting annoying. What the heck, over? There was a red tube, and now it's... These pieces have suddenly vanished.
Garfield says, Ken, send Max another one. Chris says, do you think he'll remember this tomorrow?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's on video.
Yeah. The internet never forgets.
Max's old enemy, gravity.
Yeah. I feel like Kung Fu Panda, my old nemesis, stares.
Max, master of destructive testing.
Ken, I think that part actually broke.
What did you break?
Engine bell.
That's okay. I got an extra one.
Well, there's supposed to be a magnet in there, which is gone now.
Another one?
Yeah, it makes two, because I got this one that we lost at the Denny's. And,
You can always go back to Denny's for it.
trust me, we searched that place. Although that does look like some broken plastic, actually. Of course, these parts go inside, so you don't see them unless you take the rocket apart. My God, we've gone from bad to worse, Ken.
Natasha says this is why Monica limits the show to 9 p.m.
Yep. Probably been better off
Oh.
than she was here.
The crowd says, Rule 67 of model building, no lost part will be found until it's ready to be found.
Now, here is the entire rocket ready to go. There are a couple of internal components missing, like these two engine bells and all of a sudden a red hose. Okay, dang it. Again, that's done. Oh, God, these things just fall off. The magnets aren't that strong. Your mojo is not that strong. Okay.
Oh, you'd be surprised how strong those magnets are.
Well, not strong enough to survive me anyway. Okay, there's the nose cone.
The great model disassembly of 2024, part 2.
Oh, here's a way to line that thing up. Ugh.
Yes, there's pins in there.
Take it out.
And if you look at
Turn
the
it
heat
90
shield,
degrees.
that's a big dead giveaway.
Put that on it. There we go. Now,
Walk around the room barefoot. You'll find it for sure.
okay, those hoses lined up now. That.
Where else can you see a mother disassemble a completed kit in preparation to put it back on sprue trees?
Don't expect these treats every day, boys and girls. There we go. That's locked into place. Oh, let's see. That goes up there.
DNA scale model is asking how much to make him one.
This
Well,
$300. I'm making that up from thin air. All right. Here's the entire model, minus a couple of internal parts that you can't see.
Poor excuse.
There's the base, and ta-da! Somewhere around here, a couple of parts are hiding from the universe.
I think maybe we now have a different story about the Great Harvest model shelf collapse of 2023.
No. That is pristine. Oh, found piece. There's the little red part. And no idea where it goes. Ugh.
Match the Mr. Rogers of styrene.
Ah, it's a wonderful day in the styrene hood. A beautiful day in the styrene hood.
Kevin
Would
Smith
you?
keeps asking, do airlines test for glue sniffing?
They better not. Could
What,
you?
the Volkswagen van disaster?
Would you be a...
It's driving me crazy seeing it on the edge of the shelf.
Don't worry, Max. You'll find the missing parts later on tonight in the dark when you're barefoot.
Yeah, I don't sleep in this room.
Kinetic disassembly. It blew up.
Kinetic disassembly. I like that. There's a t-shirt.
Mark says, step away, step away.
There's places for those rods to slide down into.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, there's brackets in the wall that they slide into.
Oh, there they are.
So this is why the Starship blew up.
Probably. There we go. Got it. Ken, where does this little short red piece go? Because I can't find any place that it goes.
It goes in the bottom of the bottom tank.
Bottom of the bottom tank.
It's the tank unfiller hose. It just actually kind of sits down in the bottom. It's not really attached to anything.
Wow. I didn't appreciate just how many parts there were to this thing.
Yes. It's the drain.
I did all of that for a drain. And I actually see where it goes now.
If you look on the bottom section where there's tubes that come out to the side, there's two holes there. One's for the methane and the other one's for the oxygen. That's how they fill the thing.
Got it.
You can actually get the booster. You can get the model for the booster and the launch tower and the scale model of the launch mount as well. I mean, the whole thing all together is huge.
Well, somewhere lying around here is a blue piece of tube. I'll find it when I'm not looking for it.
Honey will get it. Honey
I'll
will
find.
get it.
Yeah, I'll find it in her litter box. Anyway, it's all back together except that one tube and the engine bell that actually. I'm pretty sure that actually. Well, there's no magnet in there, so the magnet must have
The
popped
crowd
out.
goes, no, again he messes with it.
It's what I do. Alrighty. Well, with the... let me put this back before I break it again.
That's a good idea. And as you've seen, this 3D printed model is max proof.
Ha! Hardly proof. Alright, let's put this... This is the model that Lou gave me of the proposed Grumman V-stall, which they actually built wind tunnel models of and stuff, and this one has the AWACS antenna on the tail. It never came to fruition.
If anybody seriously wants to buy one of these things, just contact Max through his email, and I will get you one out.
That
Nice
goes
model.
back over the mantle here shortly, so. Alrighty. Well, guys.
Erwin Allen will be making a movie about Max and the model. He was the master of disaster.
Master of the, yeah, I was already thinking that. Well, guys, I think we have. Max-proof. No such thing. You make the better, more max-proof model, we'll just improve the max.
Nathan says, Max, stay away from the Arizona.
Yeah, really. That's going back over the mantle as soon as we're done here. All right, guys. Well, I guess that's everything for this evening. I hope you guys have had a little bit of fun watching us just, be the idiots that we are. I am going to loop the outro so you guys can chat with each other for a little while, and I'll sign off for the night. I have to go put the Arizona back over the mantle without breaking anything. And Steve, Ken, any parting thoughts before we dispense for the evening?
No, hopefully I can get a phone that'll work by the next, live stream.
Yeah, well, don't be up on our standards too much. People will think we've gone corporate.
Natasha says, Max remodels models. Mark says, definitely entertaining.
Hey, guys, the whole idea of the live stream is so you get together, chat with each other, have a good time. Just yak and, whatever you feel like doing. We're all about the fun. We all have enough going on in our lives that we need a little diversion. And if that can provide you with a couple hours of escapism, that's all I really intend to do. I do put a lot of time and effort into the videos and the live streams, but that's so you don't have to.
I know it doesn't seem like it, but yeah, he really does.
Yeah, this takes a couple of days to get the stuff collated and get the slides made and figure out what we're going to talk about. I'm sorry,
Tom says Max's Arizona might get its own memorial.
Oh God, please no. If anything happens, because my wife likes having it on the mantle, and she was very happy. And even though she's not a natural-born U.S. citizen, she's very much adopted America as her country, and she understands the importance of all the significance of all these things. And it's funny. When I did the Arizona and finished it, I wasn't really thinking much beyond the kit itself, and then I just wound up deciding to do this thing on movie models, and of course Tora had so many models that kind of came into it. It's funny how the Styrene River kind of puts these things together. She wants to see Murphy's War. She's never seen it before because it takes place in her home country of Venezuela, and they did shoot a lot of it in Venezuela. And apparently, even though he wasn't a pilot, Peter O'Toole did learn to do the runs in the airplane. I don't think he actually flew it in the air, but he did do the high speed, and you can see that in the film. He's not in the back seat; he's in the front seat, and they taught him, I guess, how to do the runs up and down the river. And he was terrified, and you can tell that when you watch the movie. He said those looks on his face are not acting. That's real, honest to God, pure terror. And God bless him for doing that and everything. It adds to the movie. You can tell the stuff that's shot in the studio. It has a very different look to it. I don't know. I got to respect an actor who tries to do as much of his own stunt work as he can, And anyway, so as far as models are concerned, one Blue Trooper did send a version of the duck that was painted up in those colors, which kind of prompted this whole thing. And you never know when you get inspiration for a live stream or a video or something. It just kind of comes from where it comes from. We all get to build models, and I actually don't think I have a J2F duck. I got just about everything else, thanks to you guys. But I'm actually starting to face that issue of where am I going to put these models. I'm starting to run out of space. I'll figure something out. I am planning to be at PAMSCON next month, Polk County. And
isn't that why you got a bigger house?
Yeah, I kid you. I swear to God, guys, one of the reasons my wife and I decided to go ahead and buy this place, which is a little bit bigger, was because it had a little more room for all this stuff. I know it sounds like a joke, but that's actually kind of the truth. And
and a bigger TARDIS.
That was her idea too. I married well. She wanted me to have a bigger place to do all my stuff, and it's funny. You get the bigger TARDIS, you just fill it up with more stuff. It's amazing how quick I thought, I'll never fill this thing up. Well, that lasted about 10 minutes. I posted a video just a couple hours before this. I literally grabbed my cell phone and had my brother just start talking. And he had a lot of great stuff to say. It's out there. And I don't know. We live in such a different world than we grew up in. You know, the idea of the internet was something we probably couldn't even conceive when we were 15 years old. And now I can do something on my cell phone and send it out to the world. And it's amazing. You know, we often long for certain aspects of our youth that are gone, like dedicated hobby shops. But at the same time, there's been a lot of other new stuff that has come in to make the quality of our life better in other ways.
You going to say something, Steve? No, not at all. Nathan says, Alfred. Alfred says Max needs another house already.
No. I'll give the models away or I'll blow them up on camera before I. But I don't know, guys. It's just, what's that old Chinese curse? May you live in interesting times. And you guys make a lot of this completely more worthwhile, though. You know, just the fact that I can produce the stuff and a few people in the world, a smattering of people in the world, have a little fun. And if it lightens your day a little bit, then we've done our job. We all love the same hobby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not crying, is he?
No, I'm not crying.
Okay. All right.
So anyway, I'm going to let everybody go. Ken and Steve, if you want to say your goodnights, I'll loop the outro so you guys can chat amongst each other, and we'll call it a night.
Good night, troopers. Thanks for coming, if you can hear me. And enjoy Memorial Day, and remember why it's called Memorial Day.
Thanks for joining us. We know you have other choices that you could have gone to, other live streams. But where else would you find Max destroying models? I mean, hey, you know, it's his thing. Anyway.
I am the Gojira of models.
If anybody's seriously interested, just email Max, and I will get one out to you. Thanks for joining us. Good night.
That's maxismodels@yahoo.com. And guys, I'm glad you came out and spent some of your Saturday night with us. And we appreciate it. Take care of yourselves. And as always, model on. It's like they know all of my kryptonites. It's insidious.
Southern men, the thunders mutter, northern flags and south winds flutter. To arms, to arms, to arms, in Dixie. Send them back your fierce defiance, stamp upon the cursed alliance. To arms, to arms, to arms, in Dixie. Advance the flag of Dixie. Hurrah, hurrah, for Dixie's land we take our stand and live or die for Dixie. To arms, to arms, and conquer peace for Dixie. To arms, and conquer peace for Dixie. Fear no danger, shun no labor, lift up rifle, pike, and saber. To arms, to arms, to arms. Shoulder pressing close to shoulder, let the odds make each heart bolder. To arms, to arms, to arms, in Dixie. Advance the flag of Dixie. Hurrah, hurrah, for Dixie's land we take our stand and live or die for Dixie. To arms, and conquer peace for Dixie. To arms, and conquer peace for Dixie. Swear upon your country's altar never to submit or falter. To arms, to arms, to arms, in Dixie. till the spoilers are defeated, till the Lord's work is completed. To arms, to arms, to arms, in Dixie, advance the flag of Dixie. Hurrah, hurrah, for Dixie's land we take our stand and live or die for Dixie. To arms, and conquer peace for Dixie. To arms, and conquer peace for Dixie.
It's like they know all of my kryptonites. It's insidious.
Southern men, the thunders mutter, northern flags and south winds flutter. To arms, to arms, to arms, to arms, in Dixie. Send them back your fierce defiance, stamp upon the cursed alliance. To arms, to arms, to arms, to arms, in Dixie. Advance the flag of Dixie. Hurrah, hurrah, for Dixie's land we take our stand and live or die for Dixie. To arms, to arms, and conquer peace for Dixie. To arms, and conquer peace for Dixie. Fear no danger, shun no labor, lift up rifle, pike, and saber. To arms, to arms, to arms, in Dixie. Shoulder pressing close to shoulder, let the odds make each heart bolder. To arms, to arms, to arms, in Dixie. Advance the flag of Dixie. Hurrah, hurrah, for Dixie's land we take our stand and live or die for Dixie. To arms, and conquer peace for Dixie. To arms, and conquer peace for Dixie. Swear upon your country's altar never to submit or falter. To arms, to arms, to arms, in Dixie. Till the spoilers are defeated, till the Lord's work is completed. To arms, to arms, to arms, in Dixie. Advance the flag of Dixie. Hurrah, hurrah, for Dixie's land we take our stand and live or die for Dixie. To arms, and conquer peace for Dixie. To arms, and conquer peace for Dixie.